What we doing live?
Verify what President Trump says all the time, which is the election was rigged. That's what I asked you, Cash.
I'm sorry, Maria, I misheard. Yes, so what we are doing is folding that into our entire conspiracy case, and we will let the prosecution speak for him. But we have the information that backs President Trump's claim. But because it's an ongoing prosecution investigation, I can't get ahead of the DOJ and the president. But President Trump speaks truthfully when he says that, and that's what I've been telling you about. When we find terabytes of data on computers from the last 10 years that we were supposed to find 10 years ago. That's what it took. It took his re-election. It took this FBI to go in there and find it. And it takes a long time to get through that material. But I would say stay tuned this week. You might see a thing or two.
Woo, woo. We've heard that before, but are we going to see something different this time? Because it does look a little bit different, but we'll discuss the inners and outers of that. But how is it going out there, my fellow world patriots? It is indeed 420. I forget the date, bro. It's National you-know-what day, 420. Monday, April 20th, 2026. And, of course, it is Monday evening, so we bring to you Hold the Line episode 205 with Miss Lisa B. and Mr. Mac joining me this evening. And, of course, Miss Lisa first, ladies first, as usual. How's it going? How's the week? And how's everything?
How's everything? Good, great. Just a lot going on as usual, and still, trying hard to keep up with it all. But I'm probably one of the best movies I've seen. That's how I look at it. There's always something happening. Always something happening. Characters are great. Scripts is good. keeps your attention anyway.
Certainly on our toes.
But I'm good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the show.
Absolutely. And Mr. Mac is coming in today with a nice, fresh, brand new microphone. And I was joking with him halfway because it does sound a lot better. And I was telling him how rich and buttery his voice sounded before the show. But how's it going today, brother? Sounding good over there.
It's going well. Yep, new mic, new beginnings. But looking forward to the show. Lots been happening this past week. It's really, like Lisa's saying, it's hard to keep up with, but I know we do our best to get to all the points now. So see what we can uncover. But yeah, thanks for having us, Space Shot and Lisa, and thanks to the mods, and thanks to everybody that tunes in. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up as always.
Yes.
So let's get to the show.
Let's do some show stuff. Well, kind of just, I don't even know. I shouldn't have really gone off of that. But, talking about this, right? We've seen this old gag before, and some folks would say, oh, it's just going to be, leading to nothing. But, we do have grand juries being impaneled. But before we get to that, actually, they've already been impaneled. But before we get too much more on that, I'd like to hear Lisa and Mr. Mac's opinion because, we've heard it a lot from, like, say, John Solomon. I'm hearing this is coming out, but this is the director here. So he's actually saying, at the very end of this, you guys heard him say, it takes a long time to get through all this stuff, but I would stay tuned this week. You might see a thing or two. So ladies first, and then we'll switch it up next round. Miss Lisa, any thoughts on Mr. Cash, you drunkard Patel?
we used to say we've had your cash, now you can off.
Bugger
anyway, off. Yeah. I think when it comes to the 2020 re-election, they must have a whole ream of stuff, and it is high time that information is out there. It's been talked about long enough, and usually I'm pretty patient, but now it's getting to that point. It's like I'm reading the news and this is going on, that is going on. I can remember it all, so it's like put it out there and start now, because there's a lot of it. And then when it comes to cash, I wouldn't. Yeah, if you can play that video that very kindly was sent to me by North Carolina Warrior. You know who you are. It's just quite an interesting take on the cash situation. Have a listen.
Yeah, and I saw it that way too, because that's where I started it off. She's like, no, I asked you about, and it's like, oh, okay, let's see what Mr. Hang, hold on here has got to say today.
You remember a couple of weeks ago, Kristi Noem was then DHS secretary was in testimony in front of the Senate, and I think it was Senator John Kennedy, who has a very theatrical style to him. Remember, he's very incredibly well educated. I think he went to Oxford, but he comes off, he tries to play Senator Claghorn, right? And so he literally eviscerated her. So when you see something like that, that's called a sanctioned hit. That is signed off on. They're trying to get some information out or trying to see exactly if somebody's really doing their job. Maria Bartiromo, that was a sanctioned hit yesterday on cash. I think somebody wants to know when cash and the FBI are really going to start to ramp up here.
Ooh, very interesting. And what was the comment to that? The person who posted it says, Maria Bartiromo pulled a sanctioned hit on Cash Patel yesterday. I think somebody wants to know when Cash and the FBI are really going to start ramping up here. So I think that's very interesting. But again, is that coordination? Or is that, are they working with people to get information out? Or is she like, what the hell is going on here?
Well, how many interviews has she done recently with Trump? Very recently.
I don't think
a lot.
many, right? Has she done a lot? Has she really?
Yes, quite a few just recently. Wow. Just more recently. She's done quite a few. So I'm just noting that,
Interesting.
And that's why I thought it was interesting because, sometimes people need to be put on the spot to do their job, or you're testing them, Could be a thing, maybe not. I don't know. But I just think it's interesting.
Definitely a very interesting clip too there from Bannon's perspective. Mr. Maxer, how are you reading that scenario?
I mean, I don't really trust Bannon a whole lot after the Epstein stuff, to be honest with you. But he is like a shit starter. Excuse my language. He, he always is drumming up drama in the background. I don't know how he does it, but I think that, what Cash is, and he said that he's going to keep fighting harder the more they come after him. I do believe that there's foreign intel ops going against him, and that they've written about it recently. I think there was an article maybe I'll have to find up or dig up. But one thing that I've been paying attention to is President Trump's truce, and he keeps talking about $1.7 billion. And I put a couple links, cash, which came out of Maryland, DC, and Virginia banks. And I think Q has a bunch of posts about it. If you just look up Iran and a couple other things, I'd have to look it up. But right at the bottom.
Question for you, Mac.
Yeah.
Was that 1.7? I know it was given by Obama, but was that cash that had been kind of sanctioned in the past? Because I never thought about that before. I just thought about him giving them 1.7. But I'm just asking because I haven't looked into it. Was it cash that was kind of held back because of the sanctions? Remember, they've been sanctioned for decades. So their money's been sanctioned. And they did America did hold billions.
Well, this ties into the Leonardo Spa satellite and what they did to rig the election. So I'm following the trail on those Q posts and then what Trump's been saying. And then I don't know if you want to read their space shot. I get the sanction part. Did we owe them that money? Well, I don't know. It sounded like Obama did some very shady stuff to do that, and it correlates to him probably hiring that contractor and using Italy and the Vatican. That's why the Pope's out now, is this information is getting to this point, I believe. And Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of things are happening behind the scenes. I'm trying to read through it a little bit, but this seems to link up very much to the fact that all the pieces are in place to reveal this part hopefully soon.
Yeah,
But
and
we don't know what angle. It seems like they're going with the Brennan and Comey angle and stuff. So don't forget about Hillary Clinton's server with the Anthony Weiner stuff. And then Obama kept 33 million documents to himself. And President Trump, I have the tweet that he did a while back questioning. He said, "How much were nuclear secrets?" So yeah, like there's all these little patches of clues all over the place, and I feel like we're doing our best as Anons to do this. And for me, and I'm coming to what you're about to read off. Go ahead, because I've been on this like hotcake since it first started.
No, it's crazy. And just to answer Lisa's question, I remember it was from something that they had sanctioned them in like the 70s. Let's see, here's the short AI version, so keep this in mind. 400 million was Iran's original money before 1979. Under the Shah, had paid the U.S. 400 million for military equipment and fighter parts that were never delivered. Oh, they burned them after relations collapsed. And then it's $1.3 billion in interest. That was the negotiated interest that had been built up for roughly 35 and 40 years. And then the interesting part is, as was noted in the drops, well, we could wire them the money. Why did we send them cash as well? So,
Exactly.
seems a little shady. And I thought it was interesting too. You got Nicholas, what's that dude's, the Groiper dude, that whatever that kid is. I saw a clip of a video somebody put out where he's like, he put a Trump, shut down the Iran deal, and I'm like, oh, and that's a bad thing? I don't know. So, like, the whole Green Deal stuff needs to, absolutely go, and that whole thing was just part and parcel of it. So, yeah, I mean, if you want me to read this,
didn't they use the Green Deal to give Iran a lot of money, or am I wrong on that part? Because Trump, in quotations, did a green today in capital letters. It was pretty. So I'm trying to get all the, I don't know.
Light mean go.
Green light go, and then you got the red castle, green castle. Go ahead, Lisa.
Right. So just as you were talking then, I was thinking about the renewal of FISA 702. Yes. And I was thinking about Palantir, which Trump has just, kind of give Palantir a big shout out after their shares were going down. And now they went up a little bit after Trump's shout out on Truth Social. So what do Palantir provide? Palantir provides surveillance software. So you just mentioned about, 30 million documents or whatever, however many it was, Hillary Clinton, all of that. Well, with Palantir's software, and given that Palantir have contracts with, I think it's about 30 different governments, including Five Eyes. Yes. So what if Palantir's software, which is about surveillance, remember it started with 9/11 and figuring out who the terrorists were and all of that, and listening to clocking all of the emergency calls and everybody's mobile number and all of that. And if you add that to Section 702 of the FISA, then you've got a nice surveillance there where you can kind of probably access a lot of documents and a lot of communications, all through Palantir, who are buddy-buddy with the military and with President Trump, Peter Thiel, and J.D. Vance, and it goes on. And he's doing his Christian tour. He went to Rome.
His satanic speeches? His satanic diatribes?
Yeah, absolutely. But all I'm saying is, who would be able to get access? Yes. He's got a pretty nifty database there, and all it does is collect data. And I just wonder what would happen if that was, it's being used to sort out targets, in Iran, thousands of them all at once with its AI. So I just wonder, has that been used?
Well,
Yes, doesn't have to be used by the American government. Just think. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it fits into the whole FISA thing and how it works both ways. And back in the 90s, it was reported that the clarity of a satellite was like you could read a dime off on the ground. So that's just
damn.
Yeah. So I think it was a Will Smith movie that kind of gave you that picture, and I forget what it was. It was like NSA. He was running from the from the
iRobot or something like that.
No, oh man. Maybe someone in the chat can remember. I can't remember the name of the movie to save the life of me right now.
The guy had a twin in the movie?
No, Will Smith was on the run, and like NSA was like tracking him to the CIA, and they had
yeah. Enemy of the State with Gene Hackman.
There you go.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking too new. And
so
thank
NSA
you, Aaron Pauling. He got it in the chat too.
From the word is NSA had that ability. So, amplify that by, whatever technology we had behind. We just revealed that we have quantum communication, we found that soldier with quantum communication. So
heartbeat.
Yeah. And always technology is used by the military prior to public release. So, and I don't know how many years that goes on for, but it's pretty, if you do the research on a lot of that stuff, and you can kind of follow the narrative on, it takes you over into the technological side of like UAPs and UFOs and the silencing of scientists over the years and technology and so forth. And then we got this thing going on. I think Hillary and Obama were selling or giving away state secrets as well, and that's treason right there. So I think treason in the coupon post, it says 1/10. So there's 9 other things. I don't even know what that means, but it's very interesting.
Well, yeah, I mean, and people are talking about like, oh, the clock's going to run out on charging some of these people. And I'm like, treason? I don't think there is one on. But let's get out these 2 ones here really quick, just for anybody who needs some new touch on this. Leah, let me just get these 2 out of the way, Lisa, then we can kind of move on. Obama diverted $400 million from Iran's pallets of cash through the Dubai embassy to Italian operatives in Merrill Lynch and Geneva to fuel the stolen 2020 election, which was exposed under oath by Maria Zack. And I think they even had this guy, Leonardo's, I think they had a testimony of his written down that they handed to Congress that day on January 6th. In return, Leonardo's SPA officials used military satellites and CIA tools like Hammer and Scorecard to hack U.S. voting machines, flipping Trump's vote to Biden, along with other fraudulent methods, machines, mail-in ballots, and remote access. China coordinated the operation with tech and bribes. CIA oversaw the stolen 2020 election, and the FBI covered it up, all to install Biden as a puppet to the cabal and foreign powers. This global election fraud cartel is the largest threat to American democracy in the world. And what I'll add to that, guys, is, again, this is all hands on deck to take out President Trump. Not only were the intelligence, you had the Department of Justice, you had the bumpers, right? The Inspector General, he was helping pushing things along. So the very people that were supposed to notice certain things like this were all in on it, and it was all hands on deck to go after President Trump back then. But all this stuff they did with all this money, and again, they told us in the drops, why not just wire the money? Why not just wire them the cash? You had the ability to do so, but they chose not to. And this last one here says Barack Obama allegedly diverted $400 million in cash to different accounts with the help of CIA and Italy from the $1.7 billion he sent to Iran, which was used not only to help steal the 2020 election, but switching Trump votes to Biden, but to also destroy the Trump presidency and family itself. All roads lead to Barry Bobama Sotoro. So it is so bad, this conspiracy against Trump. It was all hands on deck. What do you got, Lisa?
I was just thinking that, the cash that he transferred to Iran, if some of that was used to pay people off regarding the 2020 election, then, Iran, their central bank, isn't part of the banking system. Yes, it's one of the few that isn't owned by the Rothschilds, and therefore would not be subject to the same regulations. Yes, like reporting and things like that. especially on money that's coming out of America and going into America. Maybe.
At the time, I don't think there was an issue. I think it was a big question in the media. I get what you're saying too, but it's also like it's a perfect way to hide the trail. You can use that excuse and then have nefarious intent behind it.
That's what I'm saying. You could get away with it if you were taking that money to Iran, because there wouldn't be the same reporting kind of structures and regulations and rules.
Correct.
Yes, because they're not part of the financial. They're not regulated by Prudential or the Bank of International Settlements, or have an obligation to report to the SEC. You see what I mean? That's what I'm talking about. So once you got money into the country, you could. Yeah, but then once you got money out of the country, and then it just disappears. Anyway, you mentioned UAPs and UFOs. Does anybody want a theory on what has happened to all of these scientists?
Oh,
give me a minute.
We're gonna get to that, Lisa.
Okay.
Who's thinking UFOs?
And this guy, the skiff, President Trump's reposted him numerous times. So I take that as a hint that President Trump is pointing to this guy, and it was all about this election fraud too. So I do pay attention to these trails here, and I feel like that he's definitely onto something there. Yeah, and then you can go to the Q post and look up 1.7 billion, and I think I put a couple.
Oh, it's all over.
Provided a couple. Yeah, you can look them up or whatever. But it's very interesting. It leads back to what we've been talking about.
I already have it pretty much set up. It's comes up 8 different posts where they're pretty much all talking about this or Section 1.7 again of Obama's executive order that adds up to 17. So again, I don't understand why he of all people would write this executive order, but how you can't keep things classified to.
Look at the next post in that picture. The 1.7, 1.8. Look to your left. Read the graphic. Look at that.
Yep, U.S. taxpayers are paying for it. Paris Accord, scam, trillions. Trillions, guys, with a T. Red Cross, scam, billions. I would say it's probably backwards on those two. But anyway, foreign aid, scam, trillions. War, scam, trillions. On and on and on. Who audits where the money actually goes? Who actually receives the money? U.S. taxpayers funding the very people we're engaged in taking down. Slush funds everywhere. You think George Soros pays for Antifa out of his own pocket? The hole is deep. Feels sick yet. So yeah, it's an absolute, all hands on deck against him. And then again, we're using the money, taxpayer money, to pay these idiots to go out there and friggin' do the No Kings rallies and stuff. And by the way, the budget on the No Kings rally was something like $200 billion from a bunch of billionaires, which is the funniest thing ever.
Scroll down a couple.
Oh, I got you. I just got rid of it.
Yeah,
I got you.
You can show show the 1.7 stuff.
There we go.
Because 1.7 billion, and it's mentioned a few times. If you want to just scroll down.
Executive order there again, and then reminder: Hussein's executive order, abuse of power, section 1.7. You can't keep things classified to hide embarrassment or error or crimes. Wink, wink. Panic. Game over. Reread crumbs about Iran. It was never about worldwide security and safety. It was never about nuclear disarmament. It was about opening a new untapped market, securing a black site, the exchange, Uranium One, risk of welfare of the world. Why? Money, organized, planned by Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton, carried out by Hussein. Remember, Hillary ran against Hussein. U1, Uranium One donations to the Clinton Foundation, $1.7 billion in cash transfer to Iran, 4 routes, 5 planes. Did the total withdrawal actually depart the EU? Why EU? Define bribe. Define kickback. Special interest groups. What is U.S. and EU COs? Immediately closed large deals in Iran post-deal. Cross-check companies against political and foundation payments. Define bribe, kickbacks. Why are people panicking about Iran deal pullout? They never thought she would lose. Truth coming. They're freaking out because someone in Iran has threatened to name the names of politicians in the West who took bribes to get the deal done. There's a Twitter to that effect, like Brett, a couple of days ago. News beginning to leak, not news to Anons. Old, future proofs past. So that's a lot of Iran stuff right there. Lisa, I'm sorry, you were going to say?
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, I thought what was going on, one of the things that was going on with Iran is that, the deep state kind of divvied up the spoils before the spoils were available. It said something about new market. So we know Iran, as you say, Iran is what I say, that they have a lot of oil and a lot of other resources. And remember when President Trump first got in office, like nearly everybody went to visit him. Theresa May was the UK Prime Minister, Macron, Angela Merkel. They all went over there to try and stop him from increasing the sanctions on Iran. And I think potentially they'd already done some form of deal. And that's why they were scared, because they didn't want him to, put more sanctions on Iran. They wanted them lifted. And they all went there to try and convince him, if you remember, like literally within a day or so of him getting in office in the White House. Do you remember?
Oh, yeah.
All three of them traded there, one after the other, every day, And Macron, where he was holding his hand like he was a little boy, Theresa May held her hand as well. And then Angela Merkel, she came scuttling over.
Oh,
so
God.
I wonder what was really going on.
Right? They are so hard up about Iran, right? And it was like all of the people started coming out of the woodworks the second we started making our attentions known for Iran. And so I think that's very telling as well. But I'm loving it. And actually, guys, I got something funny. I put it on I showed it on a show last week a couple times, but I don't know if you guys saw I think we may have even touched on it here. And thank you guys all for the prayers for one of 18 and Renee, Mike's wife. Doing good, I believe both of them, and Renee's surgery was good. But did you guys happen to see the picture I put of the three sisters there? Remember we talked about these and how deep this stuff goes? It is so right here, guys, right? Like this gives you guys an idea.
Hitler's chat children?
Right? It's like, are they sisters or are they all clones?
By the way, 420 is also Adolf Hitler's birthday. The only reason why I remember that is because Norm Macdonald did a skit. Like he had a show, rest in peace, Norm Macdonald, and he kind of made a comedy sketch out of that 420 stuff.
Dude, he was so funny. I love the skit when he was on like a talk show and he talked about, he's like, I'm a highly closeted homosexual, and then the guy's like, what, you're gay? He's like, no, I'm not gay.
Oh, that was Larry King. That was he was so funny. He was a genius. Norm Macdonald. He said he never went to college. It's because he was like too smart for college. He graduated high school like at a young age, I think. He was an anomaly of a person.
That's awesome. Love it. And this right here, guys. So I put some timestamps on this. I looked up stuff and didn't see anything for it, but I believe this was at 2:11. The other one's like 2:38. But I'm winning a war by a lot. Things are going very well. Our military has been amazing, and if you read the fake news, like the failing New York Times, the absolutely horrendous and disgusting Wall Street Journal, or the now almost defunct, fortunately, Washington Post. What is that? You would actually think we're losing the war. Hold on a second. You'd think we're losing the war. The enemy is confused because they got these same media reports, quote, reports, and yet they realize their Navy has been completely wiped out. Their Air Force has gone onto darker runways. They have no anti-missile or anti-airplane equipment. Their former leaders are mostly gone. This has been, in addition to everything else, regime change. And perhaps, most important of all, the blockade, which we will not take off until there is a, quote, deal. There is a deal, is absolutely destroying Iran. That is weird. The blockade, okay, is absolutely destroying Iran. Okay. They are losing $500 million a day, an unsustainable number, even in the short run. The anti-America fake news media is rooting for Iran to win, but it's not going to happen because I'm in charge. Just like these unpatriotic people used every ounce of their limited strength to fight me in the election. They continue to do so in Iran. The result will be the same. It already is. President Donald J. Trump. So I will give you guys the caveat and then pass it off to Mr. Mac and Lisa. A couple weeks ago, we had President Trump came out and he says, oh, we got this, 7-point, or we had a 7-point, they had a 7-point and 10-point plan, whatever way it was. They got a plan, we got a plan, we're negotiating. And then Iran's like, no, we're not negotiating. And then we have people on our side that are out there fact-checking President Trump like, oh, there's no negotiation. What the hell is he talking about? And then we find out a couple days later, well, there weren't negotiations. However, that action right there alone had a serious fracturing response inside of Iran. As I mentioned maybe one or two times this last week, you have the hardliners in there, and then you have people that want the country to basically be, they want to be free essentially. And then you have these IRGC hardliners, and people are even afraid to take power because they're worried about them getting killed. They're also apparently hunting IRGC on the highway. One of those guys showed a video of them pulling up behind a pickup truck and just unloading on the thing. So is he going to be telling us everything perfectly on the money as it's happening? No. I would absolutely hope not. That would be my absolute prayer that he's not telling us exactly what's going on. But Lisa, go ahead, and then we'll go to Mr. Mac. Anything on this?
I'm going to kind of beg to differ a little bit. Iran sent 71 people to Islamabad to negotiate. And prior to them going there, they had presented a 10-point plan. And President Trump did truth out that they'll use that plan as a good basis for the talks, and that it does include Lebanon. I'm pretty sure he put out a truth with those words. And then Bibi Netanyahu started kicking up, and he changed his mind. And he put out that it doesn't include Lebanon, and J.D. Vance said it didn't include Lebanon. And the whole of America, well, not the people, but, the people in the administration said it didn't include Lebanon, when actually he'd actually tweeted out that it did include Lebanon. And then what you've seen what you saw the few days after that to get the so-called ceasefire with Lebanon, it's like, because that was a condition from Iran. It was in their 10-point plan. We're not willing to negotiate until all of the attacking stops, the bombing stops, and it included Lebanon. Now, the Pakistani mediators, they also confirmed that they'd spoken to President Trump about Lebanon. Because remember, they're in the middle. They're doing their best to make everybody kind of discuss and come to some kind of consensus of opinion. But the Pakistanis actually confirmed that Lebanon was in there and part of the conditions. I've really looked into this. It was, without a doubt, in my mind, from what I read and from when President Trump said, yes, the 10-point plan is something that we can use as a basis for the talks, and then the talks were agreed. He put out his 15-point plan, they put out the 10-point plan, and then Caroline Levitt denied that they'd were using the 10-point plan, or said it was something different or something like that. There's a lot of fog going on. There's a lot of propaganda. There's a lot of stuff like, I'm saying I'm begging to differ, so everybody can hate upon me all you want, but I'm just looking at the facts, well, their navy's disappeared. Well, how are they kind of keeping hold of control of the Strait of Hormuz? How? They are. The blockade is hundreds of miles away from the Strait of Hormuz, and I can show you diagrams and I can show you tracking and things like that. They're hundreds of miles away. They will not go near the Strait. No warships.
Like one of these ones.
The Strait of Hormuz. Hey?
This is what happens.
Yeah, but that's miles out. That's miles out. That's not in the Strait of Hormuz. That's in somewhere. The blockade is in the Indian Ocean and the Arabian Sea. They are huge. There are 16 ships that they've got there with some flotilla. But if you look at the size of those seas, if you were to really block them off, given that the warships only go at 15 knots.
They're using satellites and helicopters.
Yeah, I know. I understand that, Mike, but it's a huge sea. It's a huge sea. And then I looked at blockade and the international law covering that, and you're allowed to do a legal blockade if you're using it for defense, like your own defense. You can blockade. But and then also it does say about a blockade in the naval like lawfare or whatever it's called manual, but it was never ever ratified. So a blockade for defense is fine, but a blockade in like international waters where you're boarding another ship and firing on another ship, it's like no. And I'll give you an example. In 1956, with the Suez Canal in Egypt, when they set that up, UK, Britain, belly of the beast, and France wanted to attack Egypt. And guess who stepped in? America. And why did America step in? Because if they were to do that, they would just blow apart the international law, and that would mean that there would be warfare or war around every single waterway in the world. Everybody would go and do the same. Do you see what I mean? And that would kill worldwide trade and the global economy. So actually America stepped in, and that is one of the reasons why they're involved in the Suez Canal, because they didn't want the UK and France to kind of break international law and international rules, because they have the right. Now, the Strait of Hormuz is 21 miles wide. The jurisdiction that each country has is 12 nautical miles from their coast. So if you go 12 nautical miles from Oman and 12 nautical miles from Iran, then you get 24 miles, which swallows up the whole of the Strait of Hormuz. As Iran were attacked by America and Israel, they're allowed to defend themselves, and they're allowed to control that waterway legally because they have jurisdiction. They both have their 12 nautical miles. In other areas, like the English Channel or the Aegean, in Greece, they would own the Aegean if they took up all of their 12 nautical miles. So they agreed by treaty that they will only take up 6 nautical miles to allow the international traffic to go through. But that's what I've looked up, and I'm certain of it. And I can give you I think it's UN 3314 or something like that, done in 1979. Anyway, I'll get the information for you.
President Trump relied on his constitutional authority as commander-in-chief and chief executive under Article 2 of the U.S. Constitution, claiming the strikes were necessary to protect U.S. forces, allies like Israel, and national interests. So then it becomes of how the Constitution is interpreted, and they have not brought that to court. And then Congress keeps losing the battle of defunding the Iran war. So it is.
Yeah, but it's in international waters.
Yeah,
it's not on U.S. soil. And I understand that the reason that they've gone to war is like the same reason that they've used with Iraq and other countries, where it's like, well, they've got nuclear weapons. And he actually said it himself. It's because he thought that Iran were going to attack Israel. And that's why he went in there, and to stop them having nuclear weapons. Those were the excuses that he gave, or the reasons that he gave for going in there, you know? But honestly, that is international law, and it's the law that everybody follows. But it seems that at the moment, like the whole of Europe and other people have just thrown away international law. because Europe, they've been commandeering Russian shadow fleet tankers, yes, and really, it's questionable whether they should be doing that. But honestly, that is international law, and that's the law surrounding what is going on at the moment. It is actually illegal.
It's illegal. Lisa, I
Yeah.
don't even know what to say at this point. You sound like you want to move. You sound like you want to move to Iran. Like, if I'm being honest, like I really just don't know.
Well, not really. I'm just looking at things in a totally unbiased way, and then at the same time, I just got a little bit tired of being. I don't know. I got tired of the fog, and I'm trying to look through the fog. But obviously there's other things going on, but that's going on too, And then I was watching. I was like, what is the bigger plan here, or what else is going on that I'm not looking at? So I started looking at, like, say, oil and gas and just control of that, and then just putting it together with recent events. And unfortunately, that's kind of what the result has been. I've been looking at, like, what's been going on with the stock markets and stuff like that. So I've just been looking at it from another angle, because I got a bit bored with just accepting exactly what I'm being told, because I don't do that, and that I don't do that. I can't accept it.
You're accepting what you're being told on one side of things, that's for sure.
No. I looked up the law. That's what I did. I wasn't listening to what people were saying. I literally went to the law and had a look at that international law, the law of blockades, UN resolutions that have been passed, and things like that. So I just went into the history of the situation, hence going all the way back to 1956 and the Suez Canal, and like a similar situation there. Sorry, it was America that stepped in. Yeah.
Interesting.
So I can't help history.
Wow. I don't even know. Mac, anything you got to say?
No,
I don't even know.
I mean, they may be arguing that it might be illegal. I have not seen anybody take too much. They didn't help us. That's one thing they didn't do based on that. But I think Trump may have a trump card or two where, we just went over how Iran was complicit in pretty much helping Obama steal the 2020 election. Yeah. So we got that aspect. Then we have the pirate ships that they have coming in and out that facilitate these terrorist organizations. I know the U.S. has funded a lot of this stuff, but you also got to think about transport of goods. There's also a lot of human trafficking worldwide and drug trafficking. That strait right there is a major choke point for China. And China used to ship a lot of their ingredients to the U.S. to make fentanyl and so forth. So if they're able to get the ingredients, the fentanyl in the United States, you can only conclude that a certain percentage of, what's shipped could be nefarious, given the track record on the relationship between the U.S. and Iran. And then we know that uranium-1, that nuclear material that's probably United States is in the possession of Iran. And that could be one of the blackmails that Iran's been using on our politicians and so forth, and trying to start or take over a country, start World War III or take over a country. Now, remember, the nuclear material can be identified scientifically. So Trump getting that nuclear material, he's basically saying it's ours. He says that we're going to take back our nuclear dust. So yeah. that was he's fixing other presidents' problems that they didn't do. How he's putting it nicely, but based on the Q post that you read, it started with Bill Clinton, then you went to Hillary, Obama. So there was a plan there of some sort. And I really think the big picture in this is global. And this is just what we know, that Iran was. Look up regime change in the Q post right now.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And put it up.
my question too, it would be like, do we have the Democrats? What are they saying about all this stuff? Trump is what, in the right or in the wrong for what he's doing right now? They're all still complaining, right? They're all still bagging on Trump left and right. So I just don't understand. Like, they're all against him still. They're all still against Trump, no matter what he's doing. But yet, I just don't get it.
So 47 years ago, what happened? It was the Iran Revolution. Jimmy Carter was president, and then you had George H.W. Bush, who was ex-CIA, reach out to the Iranians who were holding over 200 hostages and say, hey, we'll work with you if you just wait till after the election and let Reagan get in. And we've talked about the connection of the Bush family. He was another instrument in setting up this regime change in Iran, because Jimmy Carter apparently was caught off guard by Iran's revolution. And we know that that's probably not the case, or it was being hidden from him because of the CIA. It's all this stuff. Corruption is it's out of control, and it's crazy. Go ahead.
The Iran Revolution. Apparently, there was some prime minister that wanted to nationalize the oil, and a number of countries and companies had been in there and invested money in Iran's oil. We know they've got good resources. So the fact that he wanted to nationalize it meant that these countries would not be able to take out the money from Iran. And that was one reason for changing the regime. And then the Pavlovis, which was like the monarchy, I think, they ended up apparently being, I'm saying apparently, quote unquote, being caught like utilizing money for their own means. And then Khomeini was brought in. Yeah. But it was because that it begins with M. He was the prime minister and he wanted to nationalize the oil.
Most of
other countries, that's it. And they didn't want him to do that. So hence the regime change. Yes. So they brought in Khomeini, or helped, and Khomeini came in under the kind of auspices of making big changes and being fair. And then at the same time, he was Orthodox Islam. So that got brought in at the same time, So I wonder whether they actually shot themselves in the foot. Yes. Because, he was very religious. And that was injected into the Iranian society, because it was like an early, I suppose you could call it early Christian. That's what that's where the Persian kind of historical religion lies. Early Christians,
Yeah,
certain sects.
This is what I got up on the screen from, and we've talked about it a few times, from Confessions of an Economic Hitman, where it was a relative of Roosevelt, who was Kermit Roosevelt. I think they said they gave him like $1 million. And so instead of like sending a military to go in there and fight people back and forth, they went in and started like an Antifa movement. And that's how they did it. So long story short, CIA has been basically locked in there since 1953. I would say. I don't know if they got kicked out, but I'm very much looking at Iran very similar to North Korea.
Who ran the CIA under Obama?
Brennan was one of them.
Yeah, and who well, there's John Brennan would be the one who just they're calling witnesses, right? For John Brennan.
And Brennan doesn't Brennan speak fluent Arabic?
Yes, and he's Muslim.
Does. He's a Muslim,
along with Obama. So you can see like the interconnects. America has its deep state. There's no question about that.
100%.
And the cabal is worldwide. So you can see how they can kind of go into a country and get their tentacles in there. That's what I feel you've just talked about. You know, it's kind of done the world over, and countries get sucked in, and they use all kinds of reasons to get them sucked in, whether it's control of the government or it's control of their business, corporations, or even society. You know, so I just keep seeing. The only thing that's annoying is I'm just seeing a lot of patterns at this moment in time, and that is one of them. You know, so that happened all that time ago, and it's like it is still happening today, and we can see it. Yes. So like with America, it's your enemy within, and for me, it's like these countries don't do these things on their own. They do it with help and assistance and coercion. And your enemy within is very good at its job. Is all I can say.
I think it's a shadow government. It's a government above a government. Like they're a whole separation. There's families that function above the law, and I think this is what we're getting to. Is who was Obama's? He was a Manchurian candidate. So 100%. Yeah, and we've drawn the connections to where it came from. Muslim Brotherhood is one. Awan, Alawid.
But did you know he was also a Saudi asset as well? Don't forget.
He could have been.
He was not just a CIA asset. He was an asset for a lot of people. A lot of people.
Many countries.
Remember that video? Yeah, many countries. Wow. And they knew it.
It's literally the only video that comes up here is Lisa's video.
He was Rothschild's pick, definitely, back when he ran, and they backed him. And then you have Hillary's connection to the Rothschilds, and then we've got all these markets are being affect these elites and their global control system.
Okay, and then continue that connection to the Rothschilds connection to Israel. Let's stretch it out.
We talked about Israel being last in the Q post. So keeping Lebanon separate from the deal was probably brilliant, considering Israel soldiers. There was some media came out, and I think it was confirmed that they were like bashing some Christian ornaments around and they're actually committing genocide on Christians. So. Not getting involved actually could expose some corruption here, and we will be getting to that. So we got to let that unfold. But I think it was a smart move to keep the two separate.
The thing is, it's not separate because the current Lebanese government was put in by Israel and America. Yes. So they've got like the equivalent of a prime minister that's like of
in
one
Lebanon?
religion, and yes, in Lebanon.
Why are they not kicking out Hezbollah?
Well, because Hezbollah are like pretty strong in Lebanon, and they just don't have the Hezbollah are stronger than the actual Lebanese military. And they've got a lot more might. So but like say America and Israel have been trying to get Lebanon to kick out Hezbollah, but they can't because they don't have the might. But the current Lebanese government is controlled by Israel and America, without a doubt. Honestly.
And so if
there's
they're bombing them,
going on, like with their
and if you follow that CIA deep state trail, then the deep state's in every single country. If you split the two, then you're splitting an enemy into two. So you're then drilling down on entities and being able to separate. They're also setting up a intelligence network out there via the whole system they got, with the carriers and stuff. There's a video I posted down there. It's a little long, but it actually gives a nice summary. If you don't mind playing a minute or two of it, I think they did a really good job.
All right, we got.
They were trying to create civil war in Lebanon, because then it makes it easier. The usual thing, back to Rome, divide and conquer. So if they're split, then they're easier to deal with.
All right, Mac, I'm gonna get to that in a minute. Sorry, Lisa.
If you looked at pictures, if you looked at pictures of Lebanon, and you can see how they've leveled Lebanon in the very same way that they've leveled Gaza, like total destruction, really, in parts of Lebanon. And, again, that seems part of Israel's, what do they call it? Pax Judaica, the Greater Israel Project. And Lebanon, I believe, is slated to be another smart city like Gaza. As in, there's a lot of business to be had there. Once you level a place, you've got the reconstruction,
Yay. All right, so here's Joe DeGeneva, 55 seconds. This is the person who is going to be apparently on the Brennan case.
FBI officials and Justice Department officials in the Obama administration at the time. It's never done. Comey sold his soul to the devil. Believe me, you cannot believe the telephone calls we're getting from current FBI people about how they cannot abide by what's going on. And one thing they can't understand is, why is Andrew McCabe still at Christopher Wray's right hand inside the senior offices of the FBI? I mean, McCabe and Strzok and Page are all out of the same cloth. They conspired to exonerate improperly and politically Hillary Clinton, and also, if she lost, to frame the incoming president of the United States with a false crime. This is a constitutional crisis, and Congress better stay on it until they get all the answers, and then there needs to be a grand jury. FBI officials and Justice Department officials in the Obama administration at the time.
Stop talking, Joe. Stop talking, Joe. All right, so that, I just wanted to hit this, Mac, before we get to that video quick, because we did break it out, and this is something that we've not seen. So remember before,
huge.
Yeah, remember before when we were seeing like, they were going through the Klein-Smith indictment and this, that, and the other, right? So we had whatever was going on behind the scenes. Really, it didn't seem like much, but we're being shown that there are grand juries being impaneled, and now we're also being told that, like you just saw, Joe DeGeneva was sworn in as basically a U.S. attorney out of the Southern District of Florida, and former senior intelligence and FBI officials who are cooperating with the U.S. Justice Department's criminal probe into whether former CIA Director John Brennan lied to Congress were subpoenaed over the weekend to testify before a grand jury in Washington, D.C. Multiple sources familiar with the matter, blah, blah, blah. The subpoena went out shortly after the Justice Department appointed conservative Trump ally Joe DeGeneva to formally take over the criminal investigation into Brennan after the career prosecutor handling the case was removed late last week. He's a staunch loyalist of Trump. The cooperating witnesses are scheduled to appear before the grand jury as soon as this week, sources said. Many of them have been cooperating with the probe and were already scheduled to sit down for interviews with FBI agents and prosecutors before the new grand jury subpoenas came out over the weekend. Although the witnesses are agreeing to meet voluntarily with the DOJ investigators, that does not necessarily mean their testimony will help advance the department's criminal case. An attorney for Brennan denied any wrongdoing. The decision to abruptly reschedule the voluntary interviews from cooperators and ask for in-person grand jury testimony is unusual, legal experts told CBS. Customarily, such interviews are conducted outside of the grand jury, and agents later provide details from them to grand jurors about what the witnesses told them under oath. The move could be an effort by DeGeneva to use every avenue possible after grand jurors in Washington, D.C. have increasingly declined to indict targets in cases that were widely perceived as politically motivated. And so until he came on, it was being overseen by Maria Meditis Long, career prosecutor in Miami, oversees the Last week, she informed lawyers for witnesses in the case that she was being removed without any explanation. So this is very interesting, guys. They pulled her off. They got Degeneva in there, who's like a rabid dog, and he knows this stuff inside and out, and they're putting him on this. So I think that's interesting. But I don't know. What do you guys think about that part specifically, where he's this one specifically where they're actually having the people come in to testify versus taking their testimony and then just showing it to the grand jury? That's like they said. It's I mean, any ideas for what?
Well, because it's like, well, you know, are you getting that you're getting the testimony for a third party rather than hearing directly from the witness? You know, so yeah, with a grand jury, they say you can indict a ham sandwich, yeah, if you feel like it. Remember the case in where was it? Where she was Fanny, whatever her name is, Fanny Willis. Remember that?
Yeah,
and she got in her friend to be the attorney, and look at how kind of how fixed that one was, and she was paying him herself, you know, like a booty boy. But I think it's a good move. But I do remember that wasn't it John Durham that interviewed John Brennan for 8 hours? Do you remember that?
Yeah,
8 hours,
was a long one. Yeah,
non-stop. And then when he came out of there, he was kind of a little bit nervous. And then at the same time, I think he said something that threw Obama under the bus. Because wasn't it John Brennan that had made lots of handwritten notes that were already kind of on file with Congress? His handwritten notes regarding like Russia, and all of that. But he did throw Obama under the bus. There was something that he said in an interview directly afterwards. And then let's not forget that John Brennan has something like the Brennan Center for Justice. Yes?
Yeah. Well, as Lisa's gathering her cough there, Brennan had the handwritten notes that Hillary Clinton set up the whole Russia deal. And it was basically in his handwriting says, from human confidential source, idea that Hillary Clinton's idea to essentially go after Trump and make him link like he's linked to Russia, which, by the way, I'll remind everybody that they're doing it again right now, but they're doing it with JD. So apparently the mainstream media hasn't got the narrative that, you know, Trump's on their side and you know, call off the dogs or whatever. But I'll see if I can pull that in. Mac?
I wonder if this is going to be included into... Now, one thing is, what is he being... What specifically are they looking into here, being subpoenaed for? Do we know that information?
The grand...
I'm wondering if it's going to be recommended to Florida for the grand conspiracy and connect the two.
That is it.
What were you saying? That is
it. Yeah, it's the grand conspiracy case down there. And I'll pull this up and I'll just...
Well, it's being seen in D.C., so they would then, the DA would then recommend it to the Florida case if it connected, correct? Or how does that operate? Anybody?
Mar-a-Lago. Well, they're going with Mar-a-Lago too, I think, because at the very least, they can pin Mar-a-Lago to it. But I think what they're doing, guys, I really do. I think all of this, like all of it, everything we're seeing, Iran included, all the way back to his election, Crossfire Hurricane, it's all a huge friggin' RICO, like absolutely gigantic.
Yeah,
no doubt.
It at the beginning of this year. It's interesting that, like, say, you know, when you think about Brennan and you think about the Russia, and the election 2020, and then I always think about that meme with the iceberg, where most of the iceberg is underwater, and you just see the peak popping out of the water at the top, you know? So in other words, you can't see the whole kind of thing. And the whole has got to, potentially could include like Obama and, like you said, Mac, with the Muslim Brotherhood. Remember that he had the Muslim Brotherhood as his advisors in the White House, you know? So when it comes to treason and kind of selling out America, I wonder if that's all going to come in. That's all going to be part and parcel of an extension from that, you know?
I think so.
And
potentially.
Possibly Trump, that might be part of the quote unquote deal with Iran. is just giving up the information. I think Venezuela, isn't that what we kind of theorized? What happened with Maduro is, we went in there, grabbed him, but he's going to be a witness.
Yeah, all the pictures with thumbs, up, hilarious.
What's that?
Well, have you guys ever seen somebody get arrested and then the next 5 pictures you see after them getting arrested, every picture they're holding the thumbs up and they're smiling? Like I've just never seen that. I'm sorry.
He's got a different tracksuit top on or whatever. Or a tracksuit different. I noticed that he had almost every time that you saw him, he was in different clothing, and it's like, hold on a minute, aren't you under arrest? You know what I mean? It's like, well, you don't get a full wardrobe when you're locked up. You know what I mean?
That's what they said too. They said, "Oh well, we got him. We didn't have clothes on." And then when they went from DEA to say another organization, they said, "Well, we had to switch his clothes again." So that's why their excuse for why he's so getting new threads left and right.
Was it Trump that said his wife's even worse than he is? I was like, whoa.
I believe he did mention something along those lines. But yeah, I mean, that's, again, nothing was normal about this. This whole situation that we went into Venezuela, I think that was after. Didn't we? We hit Iran first, and then we waited a few months before we went in. But I think it was in between that we went and grabbed this guy. And then we went back in over to Iran. You would think half the world would be out there like, what the hell are these guys doing? Somebody needs to rein in this crazy guy. But seems like it's crickets out there. It's very interesting. Now, I'm going to get your video up too, Mac.
Major China as well. And you think about China was also involved in the election fraud. So you go through these ports and eventually lead to Venezuela. I don't know how everything's transported, but I just feel like we're being kind of led on a certain path and maybe who was guilty. And it's up to us to kind of connect it before that, but hopefully we get the answers sooner or later.
Oh my.
We'll see what happens with Cash, right? Well, didn't he make a statement and say?
We got to pull the triggers. We got to pull the trigger soon. Right. We got the midterms coming up, and those are very important to for all this. So. I think it's coming. I mean, and we're following the Q posts, the good ones. August coming, April showers, going to be bad. May for the Pope.
Operation Epic.
So we're all on those types of comms, and I wonder when everything's going to kind of come to fruition.
Yeah, seems like
we got to pass the Save America Act. I mean, that's common sense. So.
I got some bad news on that one. Unfortunately, Thune came out basically and said, we're not really going to do that or whatever.
Trump can make it a national security emergency and stuff, so we'll see what happens.
Absolutely.
He still has a card on that one.
All right, let's see here how much we get.
Fury used direct military action. Operation Epic Fury used direct military action. The U.S. Navy blockade of the Strait of Hormuz operates through control. Ships, massive $200 million oil tanker. Vessels the size of 3 football fields are seconds away from entering the Strait of Hormuz.
Damn.
And then they turn around. No one fires. No one intercepts. Just a silent retreat. What scared them? This is the reality for the world's most desperate rogue vessels, the Iranian-linked Ghost Fleet. These ships are suddenly turning back before they even reach the entrance of the strait. And it isn't because they are being chased by a visible fleet. They are running from a secret system deployed by the U.S. Navy, the U.S. Navy blockade. Today, we are breaking down exactly how this invisible net is working and why these tankers are now terrified of being even detected. This is the story of how 21 miles of water was transformed into an autonomous engagement web, where every ship is vetted by the laws of physics and data long before a single sailor is ever seen. To understand why these ships are retreating in fear, you first have to understand the logic of the anonymity trap. For decades, the Iranian Ghost Fleet survived by staying in the shadows. They moved illicit oil using dark activities, specifically AIS spoofing. AIS, or the Automatic Identification System, is essentially a GPS-based radio that tells the world a ship's name, location, and destination. ghost tankers would simply turn this off to vanish, or broadcast fake coordinates to look like they were docked in a safe country, while they were actually loading oil at forbidden Iranian piers. In the old world of naval warfare, this worked because the ocean is vast. With over 2,000 vessels crossing this choke point every week, a dark ship was just a needle in a massive haystack. But in 2026, the US Navy flipped the script. In this secret system, anonymity is no longer a shield, it is a targeting vector. By using the AI-driven drones of Task Force 59, the Navy now creates a multimodal fingerprint for every single hull in the region. Think of this like a digital DNA test for ships. Even if a tanker has its radio turned off and its lights killed, it cannot hide its acoustic signature. Every ship engine and propeller has a unique vibration fingerprint that the Navy's underwater sensors can identify from miles away. Combine that with thermal displacement, the heat a massive engine dumps into the water, and magnetic profiles measured by satellites, and you realize there is nowhere to hide. If a ship hasn't completed a verified digital handshake with the Navy's regional server before hitting the 5-mile decision point, it is instantly flagged as a non-compliant threat. This is where the system moves from observation to active deterrence, using what are known as active denial systems. The Navy has effectively weaponized the environment of the ship's bridge itself. The first tool in this arsenal is the LRAD, or Long Range Acoustic Device. This isn't just a loudspeaker, it is a directed energy weapon. It beams a 150 decibel directional tone directly at the tanker's bridge. To put that in perspective, that is 50 times louder than a police siren and enough to cause a temporary threshold shift. Inside the bridge, this sound doesn't just hurt your ears, it creates literal physical nausea, vertigo, and a total loss of motor control by vibrating the fluid in the human inner ear. It becomes physically impossible for a crew to steer a 300,000-ton vessel through a narrow channel when they can't even stand up. If a captain is fanatical enough to try and push through the pain, the Navy escalates to ocular interrupters, commonly called laser dazzlers. These are high-intensity green lasers that white out the bridge's optical sensors and the captain's vision without causing permanent blindness. Think about the stakes here. You are navigating a VLCC tanker, a vessel so massive it takes 2 full miles of ocean just to come to a stop. If you are blinded for even 10 seconds, or if you are doubled over with sonic nausea, you are going to run aground and wreck a $100 million asset. The US Navy isn't stopping these ships with a wall of steel. They are stopping them by making the very act of navigation a physical impossibility. This is the first layer of the blockade, and as we're about to see, the pressure only gets higher from here.
That was very interesting. Crazy technology apparently being employed.
Space Force and U.S. Navy and all the in-betweens. It's, it turns into a tracking system. So if they go in there, they'll be globally tracked.
Yeah, I heard one of them saying, like, they were telling them, like, turn around and you can basically go to the next port. So they're tracking, what port they're going to port to port to port. And again, we're not on the ground there, so we can't tell you, exactly what's going on minute to minute.
I think today it was 27 vessels that they, that the correct number? I think 27 vessels that they turned around or sent back to port. So they're monitoring what's coming out of Iran. Obviously. So
for sure. Absolutely.
Very, very interesting how they may be blocking the strait from the other direction, but the US Navy's got the other direction, the more important one. So
stream has disconnected. How long ago was this? 2 minutes ago. Let me see. Debbie's telling me one of the stream. Now is that pilled again? Let me see what's going on here. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry. 1, 2, 3. We should be back. Maybe it's back on now. Yep, reconnected. So she posted disconnected and it reconnected shortly thereafter. So I will let Matt know that we had a little issue. He actually let me know. He'll put me on the, I guess I'm on a West Coast server, so I guess he's going to put me on the East Coast server now. But while I got the microphone, let me thank Chendrix becoming a monthly supporter over there. So I appreciate that. Chendrix 1776. I feel like that's a play on Hendrix, but I don't know because it's C at the beginning. And G Fonts dropped the dollar holler, says, when the Shah fled Iran and was replaced by the 12er, Shiite Muslim Ayatollah in 1979, why was no senior officer changed in the IRGC as Iran changed from a tourist nation to a terrorist nation? Interesting. And historically, I am not, great with history, so I'll just be, all honest with that. And
me either, bro. I've learned so much history recently. It's incredible. I'm like digging for information. I'm just like, gosh, I hated history growing up. I was a math and science guy.
Yeah.
The current Khamenei, who's in charge of Iran, has worked with the IRGC for over 15 years. So he's a little bit more hardline than his father. So, there's a separation between the two, and he was the one who was working with the IRGC, and he's the one who's grown up like with the sanctions and everything else that's been going on in Iran since he was a kid. I don't know how old he is, 50 odd years old, something like that, but he's kind of lived through all of this. So, he's well in touch and very chummy with the IRGC, even though he's the, what do you call it? The Ayatollah.
The Ayatollah.
What do you call it?
Yeah, the Ayatollah Khomeini. Now, guys, I think I may have dropped this to you. I cannot verify anything, all right, in here.
I like this guy.
I don't know.
Okay.
That's the thing is, I don't know, who this guy is and how he would have this information, but we're going to play it. It's a minute and a half, so I would definitely love to hear your guys' thoughts and your guys' thoughts in the chat as well. And just reminded me, I got one more to thank there. Another dollar holla from G Fonts, who is he's like our viewer / dictionary as well. He says, is it also a war crime to fire upon merchant ships in international waters because perhaps they failed to pay for the extortion fee Iran stated was needed to pass between the Gulf and the sea? I would say yes, that would probably be.
Not if they are if their waters and they have been fired. No, it's not international though, is it?
That's straight.
If you see what I mean, it's an international waterway, but it's under Oman and Iran's jurisdiction. Yes, because they've got that 12 nautical miles away from their coastline that they own. And in that video, it actually confirmed what I said. The Strait of Hormuz is 21 miles wide, and each country has 12 miles. So 12 times 2 is 24. They swallow it all up. And that's what, it's similar to the Suez Canal or the Panama Canal, even though they're canals.
Yeah, the canal portion up until about, I think there's certain miles off sea is international waters.
12 nautical miles. After 12 nautical miles, it's international waters. So there is no international waters right there at the Strait of Hormuz.
But the United States Navy is in international waters right now.
Yes, it is. That's what. Yes, absolutely, they are.
Yeah,
and they will stay there because it's kind of, it's a bit dangerous for them to go near the Strait of Hormuz. I mean, so dangerous that there's one of the warships that has sailed all around the Horn of Africa to get to that part of the Gulf without going through the Red Sea and all of that, because the Houthis, what's it, Ben al-Mahab or whatever it's called, they're controlling the other choke point. And they've said that if America kind of hit civilian targets or something like that, or go for the power plants in Iran, then they're going to choke off the Red Sea. And at the moment, Saudi Arabia are freaking out because they're full capacity with one of their pipelines, which I think has about 7 million barrels per day. And so they can't ship more than that. Kuwait have actually just called or announced force majeure, which means that they will not be fulfilling, they're not going to ship any oil, and they're not going to be fulfilling contracts. And I've got a feeling that since they've called force majeure, which means that, they can't be sued for not fulfilling their contracts, like some naturally occurring event has stopped them. So it's legal. But seeing as they've done that, now it'd be interesting to see what the other Gulf states do, because if they've called this kind of what do you call it, like legal, just something legal where they can say that we can't fulfill our contracts and they can't be sued. So the other Gulf states now have got to think about maybe, they call force majeure as well, because it would be hard for them to argue and not be sued if they don't. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah,
because
like
somebody
in a war
sets a
area.
precedent.
Yeah,
So there might be a
dangerous.
domino effect. Yeah. And they could be sued. So we'll see what happens. But Kuwait called that today.
Awesome. Hey, come
Few
to
hours
America.
ago.
We got
Yeah.
lots of oil. Come pick it up like you've been doing. And again, guys, just a caveat. I don't know who this guy is, so just putting that out there.
Trump just signed an executive order, basically open up drill baby drill and the pipelines. I think I'm trying to find it, but we play this.
Gotcha.
Go ahead.
Here we go.
Breaking news, the U.S. Navy just blew a hole in an Iranian cargo ship and the Marines boarded it. It's a ship that connects to Iran's weapons of mass destruction program. Here's what you need to know. The ship is the Tuska, Iranian flag nearly 900 feet long. According to the president, it tried to run the U.S. naval blockade in the Gulf of Oman today. The USS Spruance gave fair warning. The crew refused, so the Navy shot out the engine room. U.S. Marines have custody of the vessel. Trump said, "We're seeing what's on board." I think he knows what might be on board. Most blockade ships you've heard about are shadow fleet tankers. They're just smuggling oil. The Tuska is different. It's not sanctioned for moving oil. It's sanctioned under WMD Proliferation Authority. The U.S. government has documented its owners transporting components for Iran's ballistic missile program. The EU sanctioned them because the Revolutionary Guard converts those container ships into drone carriers. Iran shares missile technology with the worst regimes on Earth. Those Iranian missiles hitting U.S. facilities and Israeli cities right now, the short-range ones are upgraded North Korean Scud Cs. The longer-range ones are derivatives of North Korean no-dong technology. And in return, since 2013, North Korea has been shipping Iran components for a rocket booster powerful enough to reach the United States. UN experts confirmed transfers as recently as 2020. The logistics vessel for that pipeline, that's who runs the Tuska. So the Marines just grabbed a ship known for trading WMDs right before more peace talks. America apparently isn't going to sit around and pretend that Iran isn't a threat. Trump is bringing this to a turning point. The U.S. is very carefully about to make its case to the world about the danger posed by these regimes. It's going to be a big week. Keep thinking.
Interesting. And, we'll see if they do pull anything off of that that carrier, right? And so we'll see the proof. I'd like to see the proof in the pudding, what is in that. And so if this guy is correct, through social posts from yesterday, Tuska, Treasury, Islamic Republic of War, shipping lanes, this is just, I don't even know what this is, just bullet points or something. But Lisa, sound like you were maybe unmuted?
Yeah, I was just wondering what direction it was going, because if it was coming from, I don't know where it was coming from. So if it was heading towards the Strait of Hormuz, then either it does or it doesn't have cargo, but they haven't said what that cargo is as yet. Is it some kind of shadow fleet that's just delivered and coming back? I don't know. I don't know enough about it as yet. I'd like to know a lot more.
Absolutely. Max, sir? I'm looking that up as Max speaks here.
Okay.
Gotcha.
I try to look up if it could carry nuclear materials. It says it's sanctioned, so it can't, which means it can illegally. So I don't know, but I don't know.
Why would they want to move their nuclear material, though? Do you see what I mean?
I think he was saying
the other week.
I think he was saying it was missiles, component for missiles is also being transported. Anyway, I don't know who the guy is either. And, I found the perspective very interesting and it would make sense. However, the ship then has to be salvaged, I believe. We went through that with the Suez Canal. I don't know what happens when the military seizes it, though. And I'm sure it's got some activity that they found. I don't think it would probably be empty, considering, if when a ship's empty, it sits high up, and then when it's full, it sits down low. So yeah, it's kind of in between. It's got something on board.
It said it had departed China, Zhuhai, China, on March 30th, according to marine traffic data. Then it departed Port Klang, Malaysia, around April 12th. Suspected cargo of carrying dual-use military items, according to Reuters, whatever you want to call it. It says it was in the Gulf of Oman near the Strait of Hormuz as it was approaching Iran. According to the New York Times, we were so accurate all the time.
Yeah,
Multiple
absolutely.
stops in China.
But the interesting thing is, like say, China are friendly with Iran. They know what's going on. They're not stupid, and definitely not stupid. And Iran isn't that stupid. So I just wonder about, given what's going on, knowing the blockade, it's like, would you transport stuff like that, trying to get that through a blockade, when there are other ways to get to China or get goods from China and to China from Iran? Iran is bordered by 15 different countries. They've got this railroad going on that China's built, and there's other means of transport or logistics rather than the Strait of Hormuz, especially if it's material that you really want. Would you be trying to get through an American blockade? I don't think so, actually. I don't think so. I know 40 ships have got through the blockade. That's what they say. 40 ships, and one of them was stopped. Only one of them was stopped. So,
interesting that it chose that one.
I'm just not sure that this. Yeah, I'm just not sure that they'd be that stupid at this particular point in time. Do you think? You
were trying to get, I'm not saying they were 100%, but if you were trying to hide something or get rid of something, they maybe picked something up or dropped it off. That's, a possibility. Maybe they thought they could sneak it out with, something else. But again, we'll have to just wait. It was only yesterday, so we'll have to wait to see if there's any further reporting on this. But I went to this one right here just to show you guys, because I thought this was absolutely great. How Trump took the U.S. to war with Iran. Right? And did you guys see this? I had to get you guys the clips, right? This is
I think you brought it up last week.
Yeah,
but a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead.
Absolutely. But I just again want to bring it to everybody's attention. This is all the one where they're actually talking about a president being pushed to war by Israel to attack Iran. And just one more clip I'll show you of that article. Again, who was writing that article? All right, so this tells me everything I need to know right now. I'm very comfortable where I'm sitting right here in that. Jonathan Swan and Maggie Haberman. All right, let's see, guys. You guys remember Maggie? She forgot to get off the train. Didn't get off the train.
Yeah, we covered it last week. Yeah. So it looks like a ball of joy.
So again, just really quick. There's Miss Jean Jacket there. But again, did she stay on the train? Is she still, quote, teeing up stories for them as we were told in the drops? My contention is clearly yes, right? Because why is the deep state still attacking him on all this? Now, Lisa, I think you said you had some supporting information on this one as well. Our fearless FBI director is basically going back and forth with an organization that he claims he's going to sue them for $250 million because they called him a drunkard. And, they're saying that he's disappeared. And actually, I don't know if you guys saw, Dan Bongino came out and was like, his schedule is public. So you guys can look up, whatever his schedule and find out wherever he is, whenever he is. So I'd be interested to hear your guys' thoughts on Kash Patel lawsuit. Because it's funny. Oh, you said you had the actual document, right? The letter, Lisa? Ooh. Lisa there?
Yes, I just put them in the chat. I just put them in the channel.
Awesome.
There's 3. I think so, yes. I can't really read them for some reason,
Oh, damn. Let me see.
Yeah, you got them?
Has this been... All right, it's the same. Hold on, I got one for you. It's the same thing as this. A little, like you said, it's a little clear. I was just wanting to make sure it was the same one here. So he says, Jesse Benall says, wasn't he like a governor or something too? Wasn't he running for something? I'm pretty sure. Constitution. Anyways, this is the letter we sent to the Atlantic and Sarah Fitzpatrick Before they published their hit piece on FBI director, they were on notice that the claims were categorically false and defamatory. They published anyway. See you in court. This law firm represents Kash Patel. It has come to light that you intend to publish an article in The Atlantic on the 17th regarding my client, which contains categorically false and defamatory assertions. Should you publish these false allegations, Director Patel will take swift legal action to uphold his reputation. We demand that you remove and refuse to publish each of the following defamatory statements and afford Director Patel and the FBI a full and reasonable opportunity to respond. The Atlantic sent the FBI OPA a request for a comment at 2:09 Eastern today with a 4 o'clock deadline. The email contains 19 substantive claims about Director Patel, most of which are false, unsourced, and facially defamatory per se. As per FBI OPA responded through A.D. Williamson, the claims are, quote, one of the most absurd things I've ever read, completely false at nearly 100% clip. For example, you make the following defamatory assertions. Claim 5 alleges director drinks, quote, to the point of apparent intoxication at Ned's DC and the Poodle Room, Las Vegas, in the presence of White House and other administrative staff. Claim 7 alleges on multiple occasions in the past year, members of his security detail had difficulty waking Patel because he was seemingly intoxicated, and this information was supplied to DOJ and White House personnel officials. Claim 8 alleges breaching equipment was requested at headquarters because Patel had been, quote, unresponsive behind locked doors and there were concerns about reaching him, quote, in an emergency. Claim 9 alleges Director Patel's conduct is a threat to public safety, including an event of domestic terrorist attack. Claim 11 alleges Director Patel is, quote, dragging his feet on terror cases, delaying and refusing FISA warrants. Claim 14 alleges alcohol played a role in Director Patel's public statements about active investigations, including the murder of Charlie Kirk. And Claim 19 alleges Director Patel had security details shut down the FBI Association store so he could shop alone, and expressed frustration that merchandise wasn't intimidating enough. As FBI OPA has made you aware, these allegations are categorically false. A.D. Williamson previously publicly rebutted nearly identical claims when they were made on MSNBC's Morning Joe in 2025 May. Claims that resulted in active defamation litigation. Director Patel has likewise made the Atlantic expressly aware that these allegations are false. So yeah, I mean, I could go through the whole thing and read everything, but basically they're telling them, you know, shut the F up, don't publish this story, and then they came out anyway and published it. So that would tell...
Is it because it's so hard to prove defamation that they're, you know, they just said, F it, we're going to publish it anyway? Good luck to...
Public person or something
proving.
like that?
No, well, I don't know a ton about it. I remember Lisa talking about it. Maybe she can take the mic on this, but go ahead if you want to.
Yeah, I think with defamation, you know, you've got to prove harm. Yes? You've got to prove harm. And if he keeps his job for a few weeks or a bit longer, can he prove harm? You know? I don't know.
True. Well,
I don't know. But also, you know, he's the FBI director. I think this is probably about the second or third time somebody's having a go at him, right? And being the FBI director, it's like he's got a target on his back. If I remember when the USA hockey team,
I was just going to say, Lisa, it's so
Olympics.
unfair. I've never seen the guy drink ever in my life. I don't know what they're talking about. Show me one example of this guy drinking.
You know,
I've just not seen it. I don't know what the hell everybody's talking about.
I'd be suspicious if he did the little the tornado with the bottle as he's chugging it.
He's shotgunning him.
And then,
Yeah.
and then I think they're probably going to bring up with Charlie Kirk. You know, I don't know when he was told that Charlie Kirk was shot, but I do remember that they kept on saying, yeah, but he was in a restaurant having a meal, you know, and it's like, well, did he get informed that he was going to get shot and what time and all of that kind of thing? You know what I mean? Yeah. but you know, things like that. But we'll see. We'll see what happens, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, something like this too. Obviously, I'm kidding. You know, if I don't even really drink
Wish
beer.
I
I
was
probably
there.
I probably would have had a beer or six if I was there for sure. But like, yeah, something like that you can't use. But I've said,
He wasn't on the clock either.
Well,
It's
true.
just like
Or is he always on the clock?
And one
Yeah,
beer.
but
The one beer thing, it's like I don't know. I disagree with the whole drinking thing unless they've got actual proof, and that's where I'm like, is the news company gonna have to prove that all these points, or is it the opposite? It's such a
they're going
strange
to have
thing.
to prove. They're going to have to prove, or he's going to have to prove defamation. Yes, he'll have to prove it. They're innocent until proven guilty. Really, he's going to have to prove defamation, so he's going to have to make the case. If that's the case,
And what if they don't give up the sources that gave them the information?
then they don't. They're journalists. Plead the fifth.
Yeah, it's a very interesting case. I wonder how it's going to unfold because I just see some obstacles.
Yeah. But I just put a little video of Maggie Haberman. If you can just show her picture again and play that little video, I think you might. She's like the star of the show, Maggie Haberman.
Yes. Which video?
Haberman. It's right at the bottom of the channel.
Okay.
You have to turn the sound up. It's only short.
Oh, this one?
We need a little light relief. Yeah.
Is this Maggie waiting for the train? Is it what you said, up or down? Here we go. All right, let me get it up. There's that big. All right, that's as big as we can get it here. Here we go, guys and gals.
Excuse me, think I can get you? Oh!
What the heck was that?
It was a transformer.
Oh my god. Excuse me, ma'am. Can you
Think I can get you? Oh!
in the lip ring and the hairy face and long hair. Was she wearing a dress or what is that? That was definitely. Oh yeah, that's definitely some old school dress action. Weird. Do you guys know? This is a little history. I don't know if you guys did the same thing in England, Lisa, but here in the United States, you go through some of the museums and you see some of the old pictures and stuff, and you see boys in dresses. I'm like, wait, what the hell? And yeah, they used to dress boys in dresses, so I guess pirates or whatever, or people wouldn't kidnap their kid for slaves. That people that lived along the coast. So I don't know if you guys did that in UK, but we did.
Sorry, carry on. Sorry.
No, I was good. I was saying I don't know if you guys did it in the UK, but they apparently did it here in the United States, at least in the Northeast.
Well, all I can remember, like old pictures, I can't remember when I was at primary school. That is between like 4 and 11 years old. That's what we call primary school. I don't know what you call it, but we used to watch some program in our TV room, and it was about the olden days. And you used to see when all babies were born, they would put them in. It's like a christening dress, and it's a long dress, and it's white. And whether you were male or female, they would put you in that dress, up until a certain age. But I don't remember boys being in. I don't remember. I remember like 1920s. Where women used to dress as men, in suits.
Yeah. It was
with the cigars and the stuff,
Yeah, I kept seeing
that,
it. So I asked the guy at the museum. This was, many years ago, and he was like, "Yeah, they used to, steal kids, and if you were a woman, they basically wouldn't take you because they wanted, the worker men." Now, as much as I don't like referencing somebody that's in the next post, I'll pull up that it's related to this one. This one is pretty crazy, guys. I don't know which one I should show first. Maybe this one here. I'm just not a fan of Larry. But
I've got one.
But this is a good one right here. So let's listen to a little bit of this here. I think I have to read it for you guys if I remember correctly. Let me see. Ding, 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 ding. It says. Yeah, I got to read it for you. On a political discussion program, Fouad Izzadi, the lead U.S. political analyst for the Islamic Republic state broadcaster, discusses the regime's lobbying networks in the United States with graduate-level security studies students. So this is a minute and a half, but the good news is I only have to read to you guys maybe the first 10 seconds or so. So I believe. So they're having this little meeting here and they're discussing things. And he says, we do have lobbyists, but done in our own way. But our own way should be discussed off the record, not in front of the cameras. Hey, we got cameras here, guys. Be quiet. Our way was treat a Parsi, right? Anyways, yes. No. This is being recorded. Okay, that's the whole other story. Treat a Parsi. Look, this was the problem with Mr. Rouhani. You have 1 minute remaining. Economic discussions, Mr. Whatever. Actually, that's better. One of many problems with Mr. Rouhani was, after he came back to Iran from his first trip to the U.S., he was recorded saying that we need an Iranian lobby. When Mr. Rouhani came back from the U.S., he said, we need an Iranian lobby. Again, do you see the problem here? So what this person is saying, it's the one before this one here. Back in 2008, NIAC sued Hassan D for defamation after he accused them of acting as a lobby for the Iranian regime, something that would have violated U.S. law. 2012 federal court, D.C. ruled that Trita Parsi's NIAC founder, who's a NIAC founder, work was not consistent with the idea he was first and foremost an advocate for the regime. The judge said the claims were not defamatory. Worse, during the lawsuit, they started NIAC stonewalled discovery. They ignored multiple court orders, hid calendar records, didn't disclose computers, Court sanctioned them and ordered NIAC to pay D over $183,000 for the abuses, including destroying evidence. This isn't public records. And just this year, Iranian state openly named NIAC and Trita Parsi as the regime's lobby arms in America. When I started digging into them, the regime tried hacking my accounts in 2023. Tells you everything about how valuable they are to Tehran. So they're basically in here talking about, lobbyists or whatever. Iran attempts coup against Sec War Pete Hegseth in U.S. via Iranian Communist Congresswoman. Is an Iranian Democrat U.S. Congresswoman in Arizona a foreign agent working for the Iranian Islamic regime? NIAC Council endorsed Iranian American Congresswoman Ansari and filed articles of impeachment against Secretary of War Pete Hegseth last week. So this woman, who is one of our representatives out of, is it Arizona? Yeah, Arizona, is calling for the removal of Mr. Pete Hegseth. And these two guys, or this guy and this girl, that guy and this girl, maybe, are saying essentially that they are lobbyists for Iran. And again, more attacks. So we got the Secretary of Defense being attacked, and we have the FBI director being attacked, all under attack because they are what? Trump's guys. All right. Mr. Mac, I haven't gone to you first the whole show. You want to say anything?
No, I think this is onto something. Definitely, because they use it. They don't do lobbying like he said that's a problem. Doing lobbying. So they use companies and individuals to funnel, and NIAC's one of them.
Yep.
The other one, Quincy Institute, the International Crisis Group, ICG. So they advocate for policies favorable to Iran's regime within the United States. So it's I don't know if it's a loophole. I guess it's legal. Not sure.
Yeah, it's if that's in the case, and then it's like, well, is she a plant? And obviously you don't just snap your fingers and become a congresswoman overnight. So maybe she was planning to be a sleeper or something like that.
I think we've had plenty of previous evidence of not just Iran but other countries or entities that have gotten behind a politician and they made sure that they're in office. So
none more than that one country that has an APAC guy. Everybody's got an APAC guy. Lisa, any comments on the possible lobbying and possible push to take out Hegseth?
No, no, because all that comes to mind is like APAC, so it's like I can't kind of argue against it fairly without looking at the influence of APAC.
Fair, I guess. Yeah, it's fair enough.
As in lobbying is legal to an extent. Yes, it's legal. If they haven't registered as a foreign agent, if they're like set up in the US, then neither has APAC. You know.
Yeah, it's a similar playbook, definitely.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people doing that as well. You know, I thought you were going to mention about the students and things like that, and I was thinking, well, everybody does it with the students because they're like the recruiting ground, aren't they? You know, and they'll support some kind of protest or cause. They're quite easily malleable. You know, just like they do at places like Yale and, you know, all of those top tier universities where like they've done surveys and found out like over 95% are Democrats and Democrat leaning. So that's what they're teaching the students, you know?
Yeah.
Get them whilst they're young.
And let's see, the short version: unauthorized military action, civilian casualties, endangering U.S. troops. That's basically her charges against Hegseth. So, yeah, it seems like a little politically motivated for sure.
Yeah, and then we'll see how that goes with his fits with his job description, if you see what I mean. Like, you're the Secretary of War, you know, you're in charge of the troops, sending the troops out. Well, they are going to be in danger. They're part of the military, you know.
kind of part and parcel, right? Like, whoops. I don't know if we played this here, but this is just a little piece of what I wanted to show you guys today. Apparently, this is Stephen Klubeck, who is a billionaire, and I don't think it was this show that we touched on because I wanted to get Mac in. Did we touch this last week?
No, but this guy, I think that he's definitely tied into Swalwell. He's trying to get ahead
hugely.
of it, but. Yeah, so go ahead. Yeah, okay, you're going to get into it. Perfect.
I'm just going to play a couple seconds of this, but I wanted to get Mac and Lisa's opinion on what exactly this guy means by "you don't bust the trust." Let's see.
How's your relationship with Eric? Are you guys still friends?
Eric who? Is that clear? Don't bust the trust. You bust the trust? Okay? You don't exist in my life. You don't bust the trust.
So he got caught being a slime ball. Swalwell did, right? And so apparently there's a bunch of allegations that some staffers are saying that, you know, he was inappropriate and blah, blah, blah. But that, Lisa, that doesn't tell me, like, what trust is he busting? Or is he warning him, like, you better not say nothing? Like, I don't know. What are your guys' opinions, Miss Lisa?
I don't know. The last thing I read about Swalwell, you know, was that he'd spent a lot of money on buying booze. So he bought booze through a particular, like the equivalent of alcohol DoorDash. You know, they delivered the booze. So, and he spent a lot of money on trips to Las Vegas or something like that. And because he got this booze delivered, then they have the receipts, you know, and he seems to have spent a lot of money on alcohol, you know, out of his campaign funds, by the way. And then Gavin Newsom is asking people because of what's happening with Swalwell, that people should donate $35 each to Gavin Newsom's fund in some way. Yes, and money was transferred from his campaign funds to his super PAC or whatever. And anyway, he's just done for. He's gone. But I don't know I'm not sure what this guy's talking about. Don't bust the trust. Did they trust him? Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
I think he's talking about the guy trust on what they're doing, which I don't know. We just know that they're. You know, with these women, allegedly Swalwell drugged women, so you wonder. At least I don't know. I've been trying to read this article, and he's like engaged to, I guess, a penthouse OnlyFans model, and so that might have gotten in the way of his relationship as well as in bust the trust. I don't know.
Oh my God.
Or that I wonder who, because he hasn't had trouble raising money for his campaign. I wonder if this guy contributed.
Oh yeah,
with his
definitely.
OnlyFans model.
He contributed $1 million.
The money that is right.
Yeah, he was with this.
So
He's been with this guy for a
money.
long time. Yeah, for apparently a very long time. Yeah, and it's just weird to me. Like, don't bust the trust. And I don't know what happened, but it to me it just looks like he got exposed and somebody put out a video. So maybe that's more of a warning. And I was looking for what I had sent you earlier to Mac into the channel because I know it links to this one here. Okay, I got you. Go ahead, Lisa. You got something else?
Yeah, he's running. Swalwell was running against Steve Hilton, the Fox News pundit from the UK. So Steve's probably got a bit of a boost.
Absolutely. Yeah, we did covered it on Saturday with Hulk. But yeah, definitely he got a boost. And I think he's actually in the lead right now. And this is what I sent to the channel earlier. Congress publishes list of 28 House investigations for sexual misconduct in wake of major scandals. And I put it out on a post the other day on X. I was like, listen, why do these guys get to vote, guys and gals get to vote whether their dirty secrets come out? That's like me robbing the bank and then you let me be the juror.
And also, it's like, why aren't you being told what your taxpayer money is being spent on? Do you see what I mean? As in, if it's a cost to Congress, then the public should know, and it should be public. Absolutely it should be public.
To Lisa's point, did we cover the stablecoin thing that I sent in last week at all?
I don't know.
That's progressed in the government, and I had a couple articles. I can bring them up, but I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on it. It sounds like it's some progression in that accountability department too. That's what made me think of it.
I'm not too sure of the, but yeah, we'll definitely get to that bad boy. But 28. So they're saying basically 28 sexual misconduct investigations since 1976. Tony Gonzalez, Swalwell, Wayne Hayes, Alcee Hastings, who was twice investigated with a staffer in 2014 and 2020. So found that to be interesting. But I kept reading and I didn't, continue to see a lot more names. Sheila Sherfilis McCormick, Sex Misconduct Investigation 82 and 83, Gary Studs, Dan Crane. Oh, Matt Gaetz, which, was that a setup or not? I don't know. Ethics.
He resigned, so, and the charges were dropped. Did he use that fund is probably what he did to, that's likely, crazy. Right? If that's true, that's crazy.
Corey Mills as well. Nancy Mace was saying that's about it there.
I've got a little beauty for you that I've just dropped at the bottom of the channel there for somebody else that has been subpoenaed, apparently. Have a look. Yeah, your favorite person in the whole wide world, Space Shop.
John Brennan?
Favorite person. You love this person. Love her.
Oh, hell yeah. I hope
right
this is
at the
legit.
Bottom of the channel.
Hope this is legit. Hell yeah, that'd be sweet.
Thank you, Misha D. I haven't had a look at it, but I think I did have a quick look. But yeah, there you go.
Let's see. Let's take a listen. Did I mute the channel?
I don't think this is recent.
Don't know. Let me see. Do I have this whole thing muted? No, I don't. Where the hell is the mute button? Oh, there we go. I don't know. Let's see. Well, especially the way people record stuff nowadays, they make half the stuff friggin'.
Alert, something very peculiar just happened on the floor of the House. Take a look.
Oh, wait. Yeah, no.
This is to notify you formally, pursuant to Rule 8 of the Rules of the House of Representatives.
Yeah, no, I actually remember this. I actually made a short out of it. Yeah, it's a couple. It's a couple. Maybe 2 or 3 years old, but it is interesting to listen to. I mean, it's short, so let's listen to the rest of it. So this is basically them making a notification on the House floor.
Representatives, that I, the Honorable Nancy Pelosi, Speaker Emerita, and U.S. Representative for the 11th Congressional District of California, have been served with third-party subpoenas from the prosecution and the defendant to produce documents in a criminal case in the United States District Court for the Northern District of California.
So
So again,
that's for when her husband got attacked. So that's November 2023, I believe.
it's weird though, right? Like,
what a
but
shame.
but if it was for her husband, why would she be subpoenaed?
She'd be subpoenaed
as a witness. Like she wasn't
It
even
says
there.
here she was served with third-party subpoenas from both the prosecution and defense in the criminal trial of David DePape, the man accused of attacking her husband Paul Pelosi with a hammer in October. DePape.
David the Pepe. But no, I mean that's huge. And it's just weird. You don't see that, ever.
It required her to produce documents which she stated was consistent with the privileges of the House as it involved non-privileged information.
Interesting. I mean, there's definitely more weird. I mean, there's such weird things happening too, guys. Like just, like Lisa, you mentioned green. President Trump mentioned green, and then that whole video like last month where everything on his stream went green.
It's interesting you brought that up because wouldn't Nancy Pelosi, would Paul Pelosi fall into this little slush fund for abuse charges at all? Do you think that's possible?
You've got something there because aren't some people looking into California and the fraud? Yes. And Paul Pelosi, I believe, and I'm going back to like 2020 when I looked into it. It's something about like land. What's the word that you use when land is procured by the government?
Eminent domain.
That's it. All right. So they've got these. They had these big projects, like railway, whatever it is, that they were building, and he was buying I don't know, he was making money twice on land, and then the last thing that he would do is sell it to the government. So he could only have done that with having insider information of what the government plans were, something to do with property and land, and he was buying it up cheap and then selling it to the government. Making double money, something like that. I haven't got the information anymore, but I do remember looking it up. So I wonder,
Interesting.
I wonder. There is that UFO thing. The scientists that have gone missing. There may be an explanation. I put it in the channel there.
All right. Yeah,
Mike,
we'll get to that.
It'll be of interest to you. Yeah.
Just going to read these two quick off because I think, actually, Mac, I think you had three of them. Here's 3 ones. Just going to read these quick here. Post from U.S. Doge service says either you do or you don't. And it says, I got that Doge in me instead of dog. Wink, wink. So that was cool. This was interesting.
That'd be an E in brackets. Look it up.
And 1.7 million views. Locked in mode activated. It's Monday. No excuses, just wins. Locked in or lock in. Where was the other one? This one? Locked in.
Look up activated.
We're
1.7 billion. 1.7 billion Obama. 1.7 views.
Activated. 1.7's everywhere apparently. Warlike posture. Is there a benefit? Think public optics to allowing your enemy to walk in the front door. Warlike posture activated. Thank you for playing. Let's see. Activated under Director Brennan and Director Clapper with presidential daily briefings, regular updates, and live streaming White House Hussein non-Oval Office Situation Room coordination. FISA full brings down the House. When was Huber activated by Sessions?
What just happened with the FISA?
Oh yeah, they're trying to renew. Did they renew it yet? Did they get it done yet?
I think they renewed it, and Trump mentioned the American section, which I can't remember off the top of my head, unfortunately, but he said that I'm guessing that's probably going to be omitted, but they need it for foreign intelligence as far as identifying nefarious characters.
But can't foreign intelligence surveil Americans? Just like Americans can surveil people in another country.
Yeah, that's why we got our guys over in the UK, so we can spy on you guys and then give your guys the information. And we got some UK folks over here spying on our people, and then they're giving us the information. So they're not legally supposed to do it, but that's what the team told us that they were
nice and cozy.
Yeah, a little too cozy. I found this one to be interesting.
I found Trump's post dealing with that. If you want to,
which one is it?
It's about the 702, FISA 702, and
702.
It's in the chat.
Okie dokie. Here we go, hokey pokey. And actually, you guys are going to have to... Actually, did you want to read this so I can run up to the men's room really quickly?
Lisa, you want to do it? You have a better voice than me, I'm sure.
Yeah, let me just bring my computer a little bit closer to me so I can see it. Sure, my eyes are going.
I'll be right back.
So what date was this, Mike? Can you see the date? Because I can't.
Yes, I can help out on that. April 15th, 2016, 10:16 a.m. Eastern.
You might have to read the last few lines because I can't see them, you know?
No problem.
It says, I am working very hard with our great speaker, Mike Johnson, along with Chairman Jim Jordan and Chairman Rick Crawford, to get a clean extension of FISA 702 through the House of Representatives this week. I'm asking Republicans to unify and vote together on the test vote to bring a clean bill to the floor. We need to stick together when this bill comes before the House Rules Committee today to keep it clean. When the dirty cop, James Comey, the failed head of the FBI, went after me, he was using FISA Title I, the domestic collection, not FISA 702, the foreign collection, which needs to be extended today. While parts of FISA were illegally and unfortunately used against me in the Democrats' disgraceful witch hunt and attack in the Russia hoax, and perhaps would be used against me in the future, I am willing to risk the giving up of my rights and privileges as a citizen for our great military and country. Our military patriots desperately need FISA 702, and it is one of the reasons we have had such tremendous success on the battlefield. I have spoken with many in our military who say FISA is necessary in order to protect our troops overseas, as well as our people here at home from the threat of foreign terror attacks. Mike, I can only read these last few words, and then you'll have to take over because I can't see it. It says it has already prevented many such attacks.
And it is very important that it remain in full force and effect. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump.
Look at that teamwork. He does it great.
FISA works both ways. Now, he mentioned one was the update on the FISA, which I thought was nice of him to give us that. Was the Title I portion, which he said was domestic. Now, are they trying to get rid of that portion is my question. I was hoping.
That's what I was thinking could be used
by a foreign country.
Palantir. Palantir. Yeah.
I can read it for you guys here.
It's military conflict.
Now, U.S. House of Representatives. Yeah, let me just read this, Max. It says Title I of the Foreign or the FISA Act governs the targeting of foreign powers or agents of foreign powers for electronic surveillance by the U.S. government. Agents of foreign powers can either be U.S. persons or non-U.S. persons. If the agent of a foreign power is a U.S. person, the government must show that the U.S. person is engaging in espionage, terrorism, or sabotage by or on behalf of a foreign power that involves a violation of a criminal statute. Applications to target a U.S. person under Title I must be accompanied by a certification from a senior national security official, which may include director or deputy director of the FBI. They must then be approved by the Attorney General, the Deputy Attorney General, or the Assistant Attorney General for National Security. If one of those officials approves an application, it is then sent to the FISA court, which consists of judges selected by the Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court who serve on a rotating basis. The FISA court decides whether to approve or deny, rubber stamp, remember, like 99%, an application based on whether the government has demonstrated probable cause to believe the proposed target is a foreign power or agent of foreign power, and that the facility or place where the electronic surveillance will be directed is being used by the foreign power or agent of a foreign power. If the application is approved, the U.S. government can conduct electronic surveillance of the target for the period of time specified in the application. And at the end of that time period, the government must stop surveilling the target unless it goes back to the court and applies to renew the surveillance. For targeted U.S. citizens, FISA applications must be renewed by the FISA court every 90 days with a separate finding of probable cause to continue surveillance. You guys remember the drops talking about who signed page 294, who signed page whatever, because I think they did all three of them in Trump's. I think they had the attorney general, the deputy, and maybe the assistant as well. I can find that. But Lisa, I'm sorry, you going to say something?
Lord Rosenstein?
Yeah.
I was just thinking that I remember Trump saying about they lied to the FISA court, and also seeing the documents that were signed off by, wasn't Susan Rice one of them? Maybe.
Probably. Yeah.
And also Boris Johnson, who was the foreign secretary and the head of GCHQ in the UK as well.
This is
it was
huge.
definitely renewed more than once.
Go to the Q post 1745, I believe. Yeah.
Oh, hold on. I got your answer right here, Lisa. Review, important. Who signed page 380, 389, 390, 91? Well, page 389. Andrew McCabe, Deputy Director. Rod Rosenstein, the attorney, was he the acting Attorney General at the time? Dana Bonte, I think she was the assistant, or he was the Assistant Attorney General. James Comey was the Director of the FBI, and Sally Yates, National Security Advisor, I believe. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You gotta love how they ask you a question and then literally give you the answer right after. Knowingly use false intelligence.
I do appreciate that.
Right. So, and that's why I always say too, like a lot of these question marks you can turn into exclamation points as well. You know, because they'll tell you.
You can actually, a lot of these, you can manipulate the question just a little bit and put it into AI and get an overview of kind of what they're referencing. It's nice. So you like say, who appointed Mueller as special counsel around March 25, 2019, and it'll give you like a little summary.
May 17, 2017. 1717.
Coinky dinks galore over there. And guys, I mean, how bad was Robert Mueller? I mean, obviously they say he's passed away, but yeah, he was no more than a vegetable at that point when he came. Oh, I'm sorry. What page did you say? I'm sorry. What? Oh my God, that was bad.
Wasn't there somebody called Weissman, or was it Weiss or something?
Yeah,
it was really the kind of lead guy. That's it. Yeah,
he's the dirtball that was really running the show, and who knows what Mueller was even doing.
Space Shot, if you could put it to Q post 1745.
Okay.
Might give us some additional clues.
1745. That's funny. That's my merch name. No, the truth was not revealed yet. FISA didn't have much impact, to be honest, or there is still something missing to it. You can get that crap off of there. FISA equals start. FISA equals immediate confirmation of illegal acts regarding signers. FISA equals immediate confirmation, start of Hussein, which is Obama. Spy campaign to rig an election was based on false information. FISA equals implicates Hillary and the D Party as feeders of false information with the intent of securing mainstream media and blast insurance. FISA implicates senior members of UK, MI5, MI6, SIS, U.S. intelligence, White House, Five Eyes, Republican Party, Congress, and Senate of known corruption in effort to retain power and rig election, and safeguard events by political kill to act while in power, given mainstream media fake push Russia narrative. FISA equals tying the mainstream media heads, the TVs behind corporations, to D Party and other foreign heads of state in co-op strategy. FISA brings down the House, the Obama White House. FOIA does not include FISA. Declassed by POTUS key parts that factually demonstrate the dirty fake dossier was used as a primary source to secure highest level of intel spying on primary Republican opponent and post-election intel assets for foreign and domestic spying on the President of the United States for the office of the presidency of the United States of America. Logical thinking, public awareness, FISA and spying. Foundation built Huber. No spelling errors intended. Mobile unknown if above. So yeah, it's basically kind of what I was saying in the very beginning. This is so huge that they put all assets everywhere to put a laser pointer to keep President Trump out of office. And still to this day, they're still pushing back on every aspect of everything the guy does and anybody that's in his administration. But this is huge. And again, why did they go to Mar-a-Lago? They wanted that D-class stuff, right? Where he ordered it D-class twice, and they never put it out for the public. Mr. Mack, you going to say something, buddy? Uh-oh.
Yes, I'm fact checking. Myself here. I was going to say, could Space Force be used for FISA? And it says no. But
I think it would be Palantir, because Palantir is a private company, but they provide surveillance. You see what I mean? And they've got contracts with the militaries and governments all over the place. I think 30 different governments.
Under the government, using Palantir to be the NSA, the FBI, and the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court would operate under the oversight. Huh. Interesting.
The plan. And this came from, I don't even know. This came from a timestamp, I think. The plan. You're talking about Henry Kissinger. Today, Americans would be outraged if UN troops entered Los Angeles to restore order. Put this up here. Tomorrow, they'll be grateful. Especially true if they were told there's an outside threat from beyond, whether real or promulgated. They threatened our very existence. It is then that all people of the world will pledge with world leaders to deliver them from this evil. The one thing every man fears is the unknown. When presented with the scenario, individual rights will be willingly relinquished for the guarantee of their well-being granted by them by their world government. Henry Kissinger in an address to the Bilderberg meeting in Evian, France, 1992. So this is what I got from the locked in ones.
I remember when he was walked off the Pentagon. It was great.
Locked in.
Him and Madeleine Albright. Yes, it was. Madeleine Albright too. I remember
that. Old Madeleine Albright. So happy to see her go bye-byes. All right, let me see.
Kissinger is like a little troll too. He's like a tiny man.
He's got little guy syndrome.
He's got a big wife.
Does he? big old wife, and she knows how to push it around.
Does she look manly at all, like the usual?
Very, very.
Usual trend.
She couldn't look more manly than what's his name's wife.
Honestly, I think it'll shock you.
Let's do it. Let's do it right now. Ready?
Yeah, please.
Henry Kissinger's wife versus Kissinger's wife versus Schumer's wife. Ooh. That's gonna be a close one. Let's see. Well, here we go. Oh, she's not that bad. Oh, okay. Well, tall bird, huh? Damn. Is he that short or is she that tall? I mean, come on, guys. That's not even in the ballpark. Chuck Schumer. I was debating for a while if this was a dude or not, but I've come to the conclusion that I don't think it is. I think it's as much as first glance,
it's Pat. Dude, it's Pat.
At first glance, you'll look and be like, yeah, that's a dude. And then I'm like, wait, I saw earlier older pictures and it did look more womanly. So that actually, I believe, is a woman. But man,
you remember Saturday Night Live? It's Pat. That's Pat.
Can you look at Ronnie Corbett? Ronnie Corbett is an English comedian. Yes, Ronnie Corbett. Corbett.
Yeah, right there, right? Comedian, actor. Oh God. Oh my God, am I blocking the screen? I might be a jerk right now. I'm blocking the screen as I'm laughing at all this stuff. There you guys go. This Ronnie Colbert, and I got to go back to Chuck Schumer's wife for you guys, who apparently is Ronnie Colbert. And then we did Kissinger's wife. She's not in that ballpark. I don't think. Like that's, you know what I mean? She's, At least she looks half human. Like, I don't know what the hell that is. That is one strong jaw, though. I'll tell you what. That is a hell of a jaw. But Ronnie Corbett, I would say a couple of the eyebrows. Yeah, she had the eyebrows fixed, maybe. Wow. Gotta get the same glasses and everything.
And you know something? He plays a woman like a character often. Yes,
Really?
I'm sure he did. Like I remember him. You know.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, no, that's certainly.
The show was called The Two Ronnies. If you want to look it up.
I guess I think Kissinger wins over, or Schumer's wife wins over Kissinger's wife on this one.
That's bad. Now hold on. Did you guys said one of you guys? Oh, actually, I never even.
Scientist.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. That's actually what I was just about to reference. But I was going to say we never got to this part of it because we were talking about Swalwell, and then we kind of went off on another tangent. But I just thought this was funny. So yeah, guys, grab anything you guys want to cover about the missing scientist. Throw it at the bottom. I do have that image that you have, Mac. I got it on Discord, so I'll put it up on a full image when we get to it in a second. But Democrat Rep Katie Porter here just threw her colleague, Rep Jamie Raskin, under the proverbial bus on the Swalwell scandal. Quote, Congressman Raskin was Eric's wingman, said Porter. The more we're learning, the more his odd behavior makes sense. Porter says Raskin was always defending Swalwell, even before there were allegations of abuse and not just, quote, womanizing. Quote, I think we're about to learn some things that might just cause Mr. Raskin to resign like his buddy. Oh, God. Guys, this is...
I hope that's true.
Yeah, and just really quick before we get over there, suicide, and I'm not saying that they're going to do this, but I'm just wondering, like, when are all these posts? September, July, November, because September, just trying to see if there's anything, like, because once all the fraud and abuse comes out and who's behind it, and once all the sexual deviants and perverts that were doing bad things that they shouldn't have been done comes out, what else are these people going to do with their lives, right? Maybe take the easy way out, right? But remember, like the Q-Post says, you save the taxpayer money, but you can't escape God. So you're not going to escape it in the end. So let's see what we got here. All right, Mac and Lisa. Actually, Mac and Lisa, give me 1 minute. If you guys, again, put anything down the bottom, I'm going to do one of those kid guides ads really quick. And then I will we'll do the missing scientist, and I got another very interesting one for you guys as well. So allow me about 30 seconds or 45 seconds. We'll be right back in, guys. Bing. All right, parents, real talk for a second. America's about to hit a huge milestone. Coming up on America's 250th birthday, 250 years of freedom, grit, sacrifice, and the greatest experiment in self-government the world has ever seen. This is the perfect moment to help your kids understand why this country matters. It's not just fireworks and hot dogs, but the real story behind it all. There's a free guide called The Kid's Guide to America's 250th Birthday, and it's honestly a great way to introduce kids to how America began, who the founding fathers were, what they risked, and why the ideas they fought for still matter today. This guide sends kids back to the moment when brave men signed the Declaration of Independence, knowing full well they were risking their lives for freedom. It breaks it all down in a way kids can actually understand and enjoy without watering it down or turning it into boring schoolwork. And if you care about raising kids who know where this country came from and why it's worth preserving, this is something you'll want to grab. And the best part, it's completely free with this special offer. You just need to pay $2 for shipping and handling. Head over to freeusabirthday.com. That's freeusabirthday.com, and the Kids Guide to America's 250th Birthday for your kids today. America's story matters. Make sure the next generation knows it. Boom. Now, Mac and Lisa, something that was said within that little Kids Guide ad, we're having this 250th birthday on, the 4th of July week or whatever. We got the White House is going to be visited by UFC. I'm not really in a very celebratory mode right now, Mac. I sure would love a cookout, a little barbecue or something like that, but I don't know that I'm in the mood to celebrate the 250th anniversary of our country just yet, right? Until some big things would need to be kind of shown, or at least point us in a direction of where we're kind of heading. I say that to say they got a lot of work to do in the next 3 months to the point where people will be wanting to go out and be celebrating the 250th anniversary. I don't know. So any quotes on that, but we'll also get up your guys' images as well. Did you guys want me to start with a specific point on that, or just the image, Mac?
To your statement. To your statement, as Melania calls it, I'm waiting on America's director. It seems like he's calling the shots as far as how this unfolds. At least, it all seems very meticulous how this is all like kind of, we're learning more and more of each little avenue, but they're getting closer and closer together. So.
Yeah, and I do see a lot of these different topics. Like, I probably sound like a broken record, but I think, repeats are necessary. But again, all these different things that we've been wanting to see addressed that kind of went out into the, into the ether are seeming to all come back home. Like all the stuff on, 2020 election, the Crossfire Hurricane, how there's friggin' 4 of those, not just 2. Round River, Ecoplasma, or whatever the hell the other one was. All this different stuff. And then Iran, Lebanon, what was it? Iran, I forgot what the other country was, but it said Iran. And then, of course, we were told in the drops that one country was for last, not mention a specific reason. I don't know. But I'm loving all this stuff coming back into focus right now. It's just like it kind of all went out to the ether, and it seems like it's all coming back, dovetailing nicely together right now. Now, this image, dude, I copied just from what you had or either you or Lisa had dropped, and tried to bring it up on Discord here, but it's not very clear. Let me see if I can
it's not. But
a better one.
It describes a craft and that operates in a certain way, and somebody's been posting them more recently, and this craft apparently could take you to Mars. Yes? It operates in a certain way. Mac, you'll understand more about, like,
I was totally up. I was thinking this as well, and it's very interesting. Keep going, and then I've got a little bit of snippet of information behind what kind of research they were doing.
So it says something like incandescently heated antenna in thorium zirconium coated to hot electrons and production efficiency. But anyway, it's a method of space travel.
And I got a nice clear version.
And they've apparently had it, since the 1960s. I can't read that writing, even on my picture. So,
wow.
The commonality is that they were on like research programs, particularly nuclear technology, aerospace, advanced propulsion, and classified defense projects. Many had high security clearances and worked at sensitive institutions such as NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, Los Alamos National Laboratory, the Air Force Research Laboratory, and MIT's Plasma Science and Fusion Center. So I think this has to do with the cold fusion stuff, but I think it also has to do with anti-gravity and what you're talking about here. I think this is a bubble that they've been talking about in some of the testimonies recently of the whistleblower. Now you see the red stuff surrounding it, and then you see the little bubble, the extra line, like the gray line surrounding that right there. So it creates a gravitational bubble, and I think it has the ability to bend time a little bit, if not be able to like teleport and do all crazy stuff. Like once they break some of the science, like the amount of stuff you can do is almost infinitesimal. It's pretty crazy. So they can teleport. They might be able to, beat the speed of light by teleporting. But I'm not sure if they've gotten that far yet. But go ahead, Lisa.
Yeah, it did say something about having this technology in the 1960s. And it does seem like each of the scientists were working on some element or elements of this type of travel. And it seems like somebody anonymously has been posting this information more recently. Yes, and obviously all of the scientists that have gone missing, there was the general or whatever, he was Mike, who's that guy that does the UFO exposure or whatever from that band?
Tom DeLonge?
Yes. Okay. So there was a general that was one of the people that was giving him information. He was one of the first to go missing, and then all of these others, I think about 8 or more, have gone missing since. But they're all absolute experts in their field, and it seems like it could be connected to that specific technology. I wondered why, there hadn't been more publicity surrounding their disappearance from when that general, who was an important person, I think he was a general, first went missing. He walked out of his house, I think he left his phone and stuff like that, and then just disappeared. But there was nothing said from the administration. And the first thing I would think is, well, is somebody kidnapping our scientists, right? Do you see what I mean? Like, just why wouldn't you? And then also, given the areas that they work in, is a national security thing. But not a lot was said about it until, I think, just the other day, where President Trump said, something about looking into it. But it's like, it's been weeks. Yes?
They might be hiding them.
Since they first started going missing.
Yeah, it sounds like they might be hiding them. Protection, or they're in trouble, and maybe having to do with secrets.
That's crazy.
But the Los Alamos, if anybody's been paying attention to the Bob Lazar story and what he says, he worked at Los Alamos, I think in the 80s, and they had these craft that were anti-gravity and so forth. But the first kind of, I think, everything kind of started around with the creation of certain organizations like Lockheed Martin around Roswell. So, you have Lockheed, and what's the other one? There's Boeing that's been involved. The Navy's definitely been involved because of submarines. They have to be airtight for travel, and water provides high pressure environments so they can test these vehicles out in the water. Now, we had talked about aliens and stuff like that. I think a lot of this stuff is advanced technology, and it's all this kind of disclosure stuff's leading me to that way where they don't want to give up the sauce, and
Definitely not.
Well,
and this sauce could probably lead to something, similar to free energy. That's why we got these cold fusion reactors coming out and so forth. But we're getting closer, and the people at the top this is how they control, is through this, I believe, through certain technologies that we may or may not really know much about. And we're getting close to hopefully uncovering some of this.
Well, one of the reasons that they don't want to let it go, these companies like Raytheon, all of that, Northrop Grumman, they've got enough money. They've been, supposedly, we're told that they've been reverse engineering things. And at the same time, they want to own and patent certain technologies, So that's one of the reasons why we don't have it, because they want to earn all the money from it, if that makes sense. And then remember that the Navy have a patent about bending space-time as well. And then on that disclosure video,
on
they
that real
talk
quick,
about
the Philadelphia experiment. Everyone, if you don't know about it, look that up. It's about the Navy transporting a ship, and it's very interesting. They may say it's a conspiracy theory, but pretty sure it's true. Go ahead, Lisa. It's about teleporting, so go ahead.
Yeah, but you can go and have a look at that patent about bending space-time as well. That the Navy have. And then on the disclosure video that you remember, Mac, you said, watch this video, and I watched it. And one of the most interesting parts was where these scientists actually talked about bending space-time and using like some kind of bubble, that could get you through. I think they said like the Van Allen belt or something like that. That's one way that you could actually get through it, But that's all I know. I don't know lots of detail on that, but I just cherry picked a few little nuggets, as North Carolina Warrior would say, and I just hold those. But I'm sure I can find the patent for you. I know
It's interesting though, isn't it? I mean,
it somewhere.
Is that's probably how they can push, because we've heard reports of like what are they, unidentified USPs, right? Unidentified submerged objects, or USOs, that move quite quickly, right? And so if you can make this bubble go around you that doesn't allow gravity or whatever to halt you, it doesn't really matter what matter you're in, right? If you're in water or you're in the air, essentially, it's making that bubble around you.
You're in your own environment, correct?
It says plasma consists of two velocity domains, slow ion and fast electron, bunch in laminar and two-dimensional sheets. I have no idea. I couldn't. It might as well be Chinese.
Lots of electromagnetic stuff, I'm guessing, and
telling you, even as a little kid, I always knew it was going to be about magnets.
Superconductors and exotic metals that react differently.
I was going to say, I saw a metal the other day. I'm going to try and find the video, but it was a metal that, like, say, it doesn't penetrate human skin, but if you take this metal and put it on a metal, like an aeroplane, it will absolutely destroy it. Like, oh my gosh, like a tiny little bit. And what it does, it just makes the metal really brittle, but it doesn't affect our human skin. And I was like, that is alien stuff. And it is a metal that exists, and it exists in like a liquid form. And so you can hold it in your hand, you can put your fingers in it and all of that. But as soon as you put it on any metal, you could put a little bit on an aeroplane, and it would destroy the whole aeroplane in a short space of time. I don't know what it's called. Let me try and find it, because I was like, whoa, hold on a minute. Stop the noise.
I'm reading this graphic still, and it has some confirmations. Like, it has like gas mixture. So one of the like famous UFO crash, there was an ammonia smell. Very distinct ammonia smell that they encountered. So, you wonder if it like. And I'm looking at all these components and stuff. It's super interesting. I don't understand it all, but I like it.
Is it gallium, Lisa? Let me see, because I'm looking up.
There's Moscovian. No, I think it's magnesium, maybe, Lisa.
Is it that? No, it's not magnesium. This is it. That's
mercury.
That's it. No, it's not. No, it's not mercury.
What is it?
It says metal.
Just watch it and see what happens.
Metal that eats other metal. No, you're good. Metal that eats other metal. Here we go. I don't know.
This guy drops a few bits of liquid metal on a steel lock. Seconds later, it crumbles with a gentle pull. Same liquid on a soda can? It turns paper thin and falls apart like magic. Meet gallium, the metal that destroys other metals. But don't worry if you pour it on your hand. Nothing happens, unless you're made of aluminum. This guy drops a few bits of liquid.
That's got to be it then, right, Lisa? Because it doesn't mess your hand up. It doesn't, he put it right in his
hand. I was like, wow.
Isn't that crazy? Wow. All right. It's like, it looks like, what do you call it? Mercury kind of, or whatever. But that is why I've never seen that before.
Well, if you play it and you see and they put it, I think they said an aeroplane, and it would eat the aeroplane. Like, what? But you don't need to cover the aeroplane. You just put a bit on it.
Interesting.
You can ionize that thing. I wonder. I wish. You wish you could play around with stuff, but you don't want to blow up.
I told you. I mean, always fascinated by magnets since I was little. I'm like, I think they can use magnets to, like, with the pressing power. When you put the two same sides together, how they push away. I'm like, there's force right there. Like, why can't you make something out of this?
Yeah, and maybe we've been hoodwinked into thinking like magnetism is gravity, but they don't really explain gravity. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So we have to accept what Einstein said or something like that, And it's like, well, maybe we should be looking at it another way, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've been looking into like magnets is a huge part, at least of this type of technology. When I haven't studied this in a while, but I took physical chemistry in college a while back. It's been like several years, long time. But I learned quantum mechanics, and you learn that like so much about electromagnetism. And I took electric chemistry thinking I could get away with it. I got my rear end kicked, but you start understanding how these particles move and how they can be manipulated by these really other smart people. And they're just playing around with stuff at like the microscopic level and then trying to apply that to larger pieces of matter, because there's a gap between general relativity and the quantum mechanics portion. And they always said it to us, it was like the event horizon of a black hole, which doesn't really hold any value here on Earth. So I think with a lot of these experiments, and even with like, say, the Hadron Collider, they're trying to find that intermediate point. And once they find that, they can unlock a lot of these secrets. And they probably already have. It's been a long time. So that's my little spiel.
my little spiel, my little diatribe. I was looking at just trying to see if there's any updates from the best grandpa ever, President Trump, because you guys are right, though. He is absolutely reposting a lot of stuff about Obama and Hillary lately. It's over and over. And I don't know if any of you guys got a chance to look through all these numbers that he put in, 43, 14 maybe, I don't think 6,000, whatever, but any of these numbers mean anything. But they're trying to...
Are they coordinates?
Yeah, I know, right? What are they, coordinates? Are they, drop numbers or whatever? But this is basically his Truth Social for the last, for the last 5 minutes ago. Trump's historic rating with seniors boosted by tax deductions. Oh, we didn't really get to touch on that too either, guys.
Oh,
what did you think about what Besant said about taxes?
My taxes, I'll say this. I usually owe my taxes, and it's been a long time since I got back, and I haven't done anything different, and I got back from the government. I couldn't believe it.
Nice.
So something's going on.
Right, and so you can look at it. You can look at it two ways. So this is funny. The readers added context. The U.S. is not eliminating the income tax. Besant encouraged adjusting withholdings to make for more take-home pay now due to deductions, but taxes remain due, and under withholding may lead to owing more money. So yeah, what he's saying is like, oh, you can change your thing so you can get more money now. But nobody's really addressing the other side of it is, well, if you you keep more money now, they'll take more money later. But that's the side that they're not addressing, because he didn't come out and say, well, you're not going to have to worry about paying anything next year or anything. But it's very weird for this guy in this position, the Treasury Secretary, to come out there and tell everybody, yeah, just switch this thing and you can take home more this week. What does that mean about next year or the year after? I mean, they're closing branches left and right. And did you guys see that the IRS was actually closed on tax day this year?
That's awesome. What a great calm there.
Right? IRS. Well, Lisa, anything?
I wonder if I didn't pay taxes, if they'd come after me. I always have that wonder now with all these like tax cuts and stuff. And the point that people keep bringing it up that it's been declared in the Supreme Court as a voluntary thing that we do. So I just wonder how that would work out. Space shot.
Talking about. All right, and it, just to me clarifying, it wasn't. They weren't closed, but the online portal or something like that was. So it's interesting. It's like, oh, make sure everybody does, go over there and do your taxes. Well, you can't, put them in on this day.
I just sent you some information. It's right there at the bottom of the channel, and it was something that was announced some time ago.
Bing, bing, Fortune 500.
Just read the first few lines.
Oh God, where the hell? I gotta go bigger or smaller? March 23rd, 2026. Oh. The Treasury just declared the U.S. insolvent. The media missed it. Yeah, I missed this too. What the hell? I'm loving this.
Now, the other thing is, just let me give you a little bit of background. So,
sure.
Besant used to work for He was in the UK and he used to work for Soros, but he worked for Soros. I think it was around the time that Soros made a lot of money from the UK economy. Yes, on the UK pound, Great British Pound, you know. So you know that Soros has this thing about making money from collapsing government economies and things like that. Well, Besant worked with Soros somewhere around that time. Yes, and I just think that's a very interesting point of experience and history.
He also worked for Brown Brothers Harriman as well. Pretty interesting. He's got, but he always says he always liked beating. I forget his wording. It was almost like he liked beating the bad guys. Is kind of how he worded it, and that's how he's made his money. Is kind of going against them.
Interesting.
I don't know the exact quote, so don't hold me to it.
Don't hold me to it. Yeah, but I mean, I've been saying this since his first administration. I'm like, wait, with that military deal, you know, stocking the shelves, so to speak, is he trying to, blow up the financial system? Because at the end of the day, it needs to be, really, right? And the system is debt on top of debt on top of debt. And I don't know how real that story is about, well, the United States was insolvent at this point, and then that's when 9/11 happened, and it was insolvent at this point, and then the Mirror building, that's what happened, right? And so, but I'm loving this. Good clip, Lisa. Good one.
Yeah, he put out all of the figures as well, but I don't have a copy of the figures. But it was literally a report that he did, and it said that the US was insolvent, and I was like, oh. I meant to bring it up last week. I think it was last week or the week before. And I was like, last week, maybe, something like that. But I forgot about it. You know how you do. You collect a load of information, and I'll tell you what, you go through like 0.00001% of it. Well, I do.
True. And
yeah, do you think the stable coin I was talking about attaches to something similarly to this, and how... definition of insolvent's not the greatest thing, but that might mean that we're moving over to this newer structure.
Is this stable coin pegged to the dollar? It is, isn't it?
Yeah, it would be, probably.
And then, and the other thing that's happened like this week is that I think it's the Treasury or the US government has got to pay out on all of the tariffs. Now, the tariffs come to, I think it might be over 100 billion, that they've got to pay back money to the people that they charge tariffs with using the incorrect system. So you can charge tariffs, but you've got to do it in under a certain regulation or whatever, But the previous, the more recent tariffs, remember there was the Supreme Court case. Well, actually, the companies now, or countries that have been charged tariffs, they're now invoicing the American government to get their compensation.
The American government made a website that they can claim their refunds.
Yeah.
So it's,
and then I don't know what Lutnick has to do with that either, because remember, I think it's his children that have the insurance company regarding the tariffs.
And I did look it up quick for you, Mac, and it apparently is all the stable coins, or it says, excuse me, most of the stable coins are, what does it say? Vast majority of stable coins are designed to be linked or pegged to the US dollar, typically at a 1-to-1 ratio. Digital assets aim to maintain a stable dollar value by backing each token with reserves of US dollar or equivalent safe assets. Yeah, okay, like treasury bills. Yeah, this is stable. Oh my goodness. But yeah, guys, I got a couple
and I think we're on a positive path to correcting our financial system and the currency, and that'll have a global impact. However he does it, I'm still got my theories, but it's very interesting to see. This is like I don't know, very historic if this is what's going on. doesn't happen, but once in I don't know, a couple hundred years.
Hasn't the Treasury somehow? Oh, I've forgotten it. Where they've kind of co-opted the use of XRP.
I believe
Because it is a stable coin, and then you've got the ISO, the International Standard 20022, where it's like, things have to be asset backed, So like Ripple has holdings that asset back their crypto, or their coin, or their stable coin, or whatever you want to call it, and everybody's got to conform to that.
Interesting. Yeah, that old system is just, it's you got to borrow to pay it off the previous years. You know what I mean? Over and over and over again.
And then the other thing is banks are using them, and now the people that maybe own the stable coins can be a bank or something like that, So it's giving the old system a good run for its money.
It's decentralizing it, definitely.
Yeah.
That's what I always said. If we could become the bank, that then and reap the benefits. What's that, Lisa? You want to finish it? Go ahead.
Yeah, you can become you can become your own bank with the stable coins.
Yeah.
Yes. Because a lot of people are doing deals in USDT, whatever it is, the US digital token, which I believe is pegged to the dollar.
I think people are buying houses, all kinds of. It's interesting. It's a new market, definitely. On the horizon.
I want to fact check something here just really quick because I don't want to give people wrong evidence. Okay. Gallium is generally considered low toxicity because Wheezy sent forth a chat from the
don't drink it or anything.
Yeah, don't be drinking that stuff. But it's generally considered low toxicity and safe to touch briefly, but it can cause skin irritation or rarely mild chemical burns, skin sensitization upon prolonged contact. So yeah, don't make a toy out of it. Don't play with it in your backyard.
Forgot to disclaimer it.
Yeah, exactly. Don't do any of that stuff.
I'm allergic to mixed metals or like things that aren't gold and silver. They
non-precious. You're non-precious.
Yeah.
I got a couple of non-money stories here. I just wanted to, and I hate even bringing something like this up, but the idea that that doesn't happen. I could never do something like that. Well, unfortunately, there are people out there in the world that would do something like I'm about to show you. And apparently it's more prevalent than we are aware of. So I'm going to say this in a less trouble that will get myself in on a certain platform. But an Indiana mother of 7 accused of offering her 7-month-old daughter, or let's just say an adult to play with, on Snapchat for $400. $400. This scumbag was going to allow a 32-year-old man to come play with, let's just say. Stapp reportedly sent 3 photos of her infant daughter with the message, "You can play with her with the F word for $400. Half now, rest after. I'll send my address. I live alone, and her dad is not in the picture." Snapchat flagged the message to authorities. 10 days later, FBI agents arrived at her home, booked into Marion County Jail on July 8th, held on, I don't even know how old this was, $100,000 bail. But these things happen, guys, all the time. All the time. And don't think that somebody like this guy here would be above it, Mr. Swalwell. Bad to worse. And this kind of talks about Steyer as well. I'm not going to play this, guys, but just keep in mind, this guy Steyer here is going to make Newsom look like a friggin' Boy Scout. You do not want this guy. Make sure, what's his name there? The English guy there, Lisa? The guy running for California governor there. What was his name? The English
Steve
guy.
Hilton.
Yeah, vote
Steve
for Steve
Hilton.
Vote for Steve Hilton, guys, because this guy, Tom Steyer, how California can put ICE in jail. That's a Substack this guy actually wrote. A Substack.
He's like an investment guy, Tom Steyer, if I remember rightly. I think he was around in like 2020 or something like that.
Unbelievable, but yeah,
doesn't like Trump.
I'm a billionaire. I'm gonna run for president.
And moonlights as a political journalist, also.
I know,
opinion writer,
and
as a Substacker.
Yeah, when you said about that lady and offering up her daughter, well, we had Ian Watkins, who was the lead singer of a rock band called the Lost Prophets from 1997 to 2012. And he was getting girlfriends online to abuse babies and also bring him babies to abuse. And he was put in prison. Sexual offences and criminal activity. Watkins' abuse of and misconduct with children was reported as early as 2008 to South Wales Police, but the police failed to act. And this included both sexual abuse of children and giving children drugs, including cocaine. Watkins' former bandmates said they were unaware of his conduct. So what happened to him was he had his ex-girlfriend, she started speaking up. And it took her way over a year to get the police to take any notice of what she was saying. He ended up being put in jail for quite some time, and then I think he was killed by another inmate.
Yep.
And it was disgusting. And he was like, big, good looking, rock star on BBC and all of that kind of thing. And this guy was doing some dirty, disgusting stuff with children.
Unreal.
Yeah.
You know what it reminded me of too, and I tried to find it. If you guys will probably remember, I'm pretty sure it was in the drops. That's why I was checking out keyword Clinton staffers, which does not come up. Staffer does come up a bunch, but it was a former Clinton staffer that got arrested because he was on the phone with a woman that he thought was just like this last one here, that was willing to sell her kids. And thankfully, he was on the phone with an FBI agent. And when the woman was asked by the guy, like, oh, what do you got for kids? And he's like, oh, I got a 7-year-old and an 8-year-old. And he's like, that's it? Anything younger? And then the other girl, she says, oh, my friend's here. She's got a 3-year-old. He's like, that's perfect. Yeah, bring her and the 7-year-old. Like, these people are, and this is an infant, guys. An infant. 7-month-old baby. Right, so these horrible things people absolutely do, and so we can't look at it like, oh, I would never do that, so it doesn't happen. These people are on a different level of absolute, you can't be human if you do something like that, right? Like, I feel like that's the lowest low of the lows, and those people don't deserve to be free or, in my opinion, breathing air ever again. So, MaQaveli, we are 3 minutes from 10 o'clock, and I'll do some farewell thank yous and stuff like that. But is there anything that is pertinent that we didn't touch on today? I'm sure. And I'm sure once we end the show, we're going to be like, oh, yeah, that's right. And then, oh, yeah, as we always do at the end of every show.
Well, in the Ukraine, I think they're now kind of admitting that 2 million Ukrainians have been killed in this war.
And they gotta
there was
pay.
A figure that came out of 1.7 million, and then they've got this kind of program where they are literally dragging Ukrainian men off the street to go and fight in the war. And they're now asking other countries to send back Ukrainians so that they can join the war.
Wow.
When you look at the videos of people being dragged off the street, it's bad. And haven't you just made up? I think. Wait a minute. Let me just get my wording right. In America now, your kids are going to be automatically put on the draft list, register.
Those are just rumors. That didn't happen.
Actually,
no.
Did it actually happen?
It did. They're put on the register. They're automatically put on the register.
In case of a draft?
It's actually been. I thought it was something new, Lisa. It's actually not new.
No, it was in the big beautiful bill or something like that.
No, 1979. I thought, I was like, wait, what? No way. I'm like, no, because after I did a show with Ghost one night, and then somebody had sent me that link, and I sent it, and I was like, oh, so I sent it along to them, and his wife texted back, and she's like, no, that's you had to do that for years, and I'm like, wait, let me look this up, and I'm trying to find a link right now, but yeah, I looked at it because I was born in '76, and I'm like, so what did I miss it? Because I think it was done in '79. I'm almost sure.
I thought that like, say you had to register or was supposed to register, but what they're saying now is that you will be automatically registered for military draft from age 18 to 26, including green card holders, asylum seekers, migrants. Yeah, come to America, get drafted. Yeah.
This is the info I got. It says, I looked into the draft thing. It's just an automatic sign up. It keeps you from having to do it. So no draft is happening. It's just automatic selective service for all boys at age 18. And it had been since 1979. So yeah, interesting. I mean, but that's a lot of people are saying, we're concerned that, our kids are going to have to go. I mean, my kid's 15, 16, 17, 18. I'm not concerned in the least that he's going to get drafted to go to a war, personally, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it plays out here, guys. And I think I told you guys a couple weeks ago, we are no longer on D Live, as they are no longer presenting. Well, maybe they are, I don't know, but they told us basically, you're done over here. So, get all your stuff out of here, pack up all your crap and get the hell out of here. And then they couldn't even tell us what the last day of the last day of broadcast would be. No, it's just they closed down altogether. And Lisa will love this fact. You'll love this one, Lisa. So I got the email from D Live, and they also put a posting out on Twitter, right? And so I go ask ChatGPT. I'm like, oh hey, when's the last day that I can stream on D Live? And they're like, oh, you must be hearing rumors. ChatGPT is like, you must be hearing rumors. There's no, thing about D Live shutting down. And so I sent them the link for this. I was like, oh, really? How about that? And they were like, oh, yeah, you're right. You're right to push back on that. And I'm like, oh my God, it's awful.
I know. I just, I keep kind of just asking questions. I know the answer already. And then I just call it a liar, and it says, no, I don't lie. It's just that I didn't pick up the information, so when I looked again and then I'll go, oh, so what about this then? And then it gives me an answer, and I'm like, you lied. That's incorrect.
You're a
because
computer.
Here is the information, and I just
well, you're
just
teaching it, Lisa.
Sorry? Well,
I said you're teaching it.
To a degree, I think we're all teaching it. Phones, anything that we use, anything where you're using predictive text and stuff like that. Even Telegram. When you're writing an answer to a message, it's got AI there. WhatsApp. They've admitted all the stuff that you put on there goes into training their AI. Google. Anything to do with Google goes into training their large language models,
100%.
There's only a few of them that don't, and they should be paying you for that, really and truthfully. It's like they're saving millions and millions, but they're going to make millions in their applications of that.
You should own that stuff. You're exactly right.
And the best part is it tells you on there that I was like, oh, well, this is something you got wrong. You can correct it and bring it back to the rest of the world. No. Our conversations are just between us. Yeah, bullshit. So this is kind of, I'll just go through this really quick. Hey, when was the last day? There's no confirmed last day, da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, bottom line, you can still go on live on it. I said, really? Then what's this? And then are you going to adjust my ability to ask more questions, as they're limited per day, and you got a really simple question, even a simple Google search would find. So my question is, why are you wrong so often? And will you credit my account one question due to your obvious inaccuracy? It's like, you're right to call that out. This is one of those cases where things changed very recently, and your link is legit. It was 3 days old at the time. It was telling me that, things changed very recently. That's why I didn't get it. So yeah, it's a bunch of bull stuff. And I got I got a few dollar hollers from G-Fonts in a row here. I think the last time we talked, we were touching on the Strait of Hormuz. And then he says, I'll read this one first. He says, I'm not meaning to be a pain or argumentative. I do really value the information exchange going on here. So yeah, no, I'm not taking you as rude or anything, buddy. I appreciate it. He said, when the Shah fled Iran and was replaced by the 12, I think I read that one, okay? He says, the Indian ship was plus 150 kilometers beyond before being struck. Then there's the Brits were fired upon with the French NATO minesweepers. And he says, unverified reports, there were potential explosive fertilizers as well as propellant that would be used for ballistic missiles. Also may have been an incoming ship. I did not hear its direction. Yeah, it was incoming to Iran from China and Malaysia. And then China has allegedly, that was, and China has, quote, allegedly been providing weapon systems to Iran for Bitcoin. Iran's been mining for years instead of providing all their energy output to their inhabitants. That one thing I do know, because I've seen people in there talking about when they got money. Even MBS was saying, they got all this money and they don't do anything. They didn't make the streets for people. They're not doing anything for people. And then U.S. Rep. Corey Mills of Florida is a Muzzy. All right, he said Muslim, I said Muzzy. Married to a Muslim by Palestinian-born, Hamas-related, and unindicted co-conspirator in 1993 World Trade Center bombing, Imam Muhammad al-Hanoudi. What? Is a Muslim and related? Oh my God, really? I'm definitely copying this one and going to be looking into that one later. Related to that? Oh my goodness. And the last one on here is they are already cooperating witnesses, are highly unusually being sent directly to indictment proceeding to testify on record in Brennan case in Southern District of Florida. So thank you for those, G-Fonts. And any response, Mac or Lisa, you want to respond to any of those?
No, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
The discussion and the input, I like questions answered, so thank you.
That's why I say he's like our little dictionary or encyclopedia in there, because he always drops dollar hollers and then interesting talking points. So I do appreciate that. Over on Pilled, where I will make sure to get the scratchings released today. Bois Blanc dropped the shades. No message on there, but thank you. Dale Bercier with the ship. I guess all the ship talk. So thank you for that, brother. And it says, keep up the great work. Where we go one, we go all worldwide. Boom, with a Q and 2 Qs in the middle. And then Dale Bercier just bought a month silver tier subscription over on Pilled. Thank you for those two, brother, in a row. And then Chatty KC dropped the cookie, no message, but thank you. And then Jucani with the shades. No, there is a message. Says God bless, and bless you right back. One Thunder with the can, no message on there, but thank you. And then Sean Joe, Space Squad member with the can. No message on that one, brother, but thank you, sir. And then follow up by by a cookie from Sean Joe. Thank you for that, my man. And then another cookie, and then another cookie, and then another cookie, all by Sean Joe in a row there. Appreciate you, brother. And then One Thunder with the can. No message on that one, but thank you. And then Just Jim with 176 gold pills. No message on that one, but thank you for those as well. And I am clicking it right now, nice and early. Release scratchings, and they are being released as we speak. So as we're on the way out the door here, we do appreciate all of you guys hanging out with us and whatnot, and tuning in all these times. And how did that? All right, I got to unpin that one. And I always want to make sure to get a last word from Miss Lisa and Mr. Mac before we head out the door. So Miss Lisa, ladies first. Any parting words for the crew?
Yeah, let's see what happens Tuesday, Wednesday this week. You know, I don't think there's any talks going on in Islamabad. Iran have said they're not attending. And I think like JD Vance and all of that have been held back because there's going to be no talks. So let's see what happens. You know, it's going to be interesting, is all I can say. And then it'd be nice for Russia and China to step in and do some mediation. I think that's probably a requirement, and that would be good for that to happen, you know? Because I think that the only two countries that could do that. I'd mentioned Russia like a few weeks ago, saying yes, if Russia stepped in, but Russia and China, you know, together, working together to sort this mess out would be rather good, you know? Rather good. Because somebody's got to step in. Somebody's got to step in, I think.
Yeah, I mean, they said, you know, Russia said we're not going to, you know, attack Israel because we got a bunch of, you know, Russian Jews that are living over there. What do you got there? Meowth? Nice. Meowth. But yeah. So yeah, we'll like Lisa said, we'll have to wait and see, and you know, I gauge how things are going by, you know, does President Trump look like he's all stressed out with all these decisions and whatnot? So seems to be chipper lately. But Lisa, if you're all set with your final words, I don't want to. Hopefully, I didn't cut you off, but we'll take Mr. Max.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm good. I'm good. I'll see you all next week.
Beautiful, Mr. Max, sir. Parting words for the crew.
Great show. Covered a lot. I think we did some great digs and dives, and looking forward to what Lisa says unfolds here. I think President Trump has a firm plan of what he's trying to accomplish, and I'm looking forward to, like I said, see what happens. But great show. Thanks for having us as always. You know, thanks to the people that tune in, and looking forward to next week's show.
Yeah, absolutely. I will be back with Ghost, definitely Mike, Armando, and Ghost. I don't know if he's giving me the thumbs up yet, but sorry, pretty sure. Ghost, Armando, and Mike tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Hope you guys can join us. Great show, Mac and Lisa, as usual. And thanks to the mods out there. We do appreciate your help greatly, myself and many others out there. So at the end of the day, we do appreciate each and every last one of you wonderful world patriots for tuning in out there. And until that next one, thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Peace.
Something special is happening in here. That's right, it's brackets and jackets, bringing it back for brackets and jackets. Special Epstein Island edition. That's right, folks. Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein, the man with the island, which is suspiciously close to Haiti. That's right. You see this man, Jeffrey Epstein, is funding lots of people. He's funding lots of people on the street to make sure his shit doesn't get out. That's right. They want the record sealed. And they're paying a lot of people. Epstein's paying a lot of people. Oh, boy. For one, he's got a whole Mossad media matrix in America. And I would bet you anything that Alex Jones is one of them. Prove me wrong. That's right, Cappy's in the portal. Cappy's in the portal. Cappy's in the building with songs about Epstein. It's Breakfast Jacket's Epstein edition. Guys, I had some epiphanies today. I had some real big epiphanies about some guys. A big network of guys and spies and lies and liars. All right, think about this for a minute, okay? The guy in Portland, the scientist that just got busted for producing CP, that guy is 1 degree of separation away from Epstein. Epstein, the investor that lives in West Palm Beach, Florida. I know a guy who lives in West Palm Beach, Florida as well. Investor as well. Also involved as well. And all is not well with these guys. The Florida boys, the Glow boys, the Scott Israels of the world. You see, Epstein is Hillary Clinton. And Epstein is Haiti. And Epstein is a big network of media assets. By the way, did you know that Steve Bannon was going to that guy for money? Also, Epstein is Epstein Oprah. Epstein is Chris Tucker. You remember him. Epstein is also Kevin Spacey. Epstein is also Prince Andrew. Epstein is also... Who else is Epstein? Who else is Epstein? Tell me. You guys know? Who else is Epstein? Is Epstein Big Pharma? Is Epstein Bryan Singer? Is Epstein Naomi Campbell? Yep, all of the above. All of the above. Who is Epstein? Epstein is the keystone of a whole motherfucking matrix. And once you pull it out, it all falls down. Dersh was there too. That's right, we're dropping red pills every day. Dropping red pills in the best kind of way. This is brackets and jackets for the denizens of islands.